dangerous, and just now kings are dying like flies.
I am the king!
Fuck the king. Knowledge is power.
Joffrey, Cersei, Walder Frey.
Welcome to the Showboys podcast. We're back recapping season 7 of Game of Thrones. We've made it almost to the end of this series. Mike, thanks for hanging out with us. How are you tonight?
Doing good. I just want to say that power is power.
Power is
not
power.
Knowledge. Knowledge is
right.
not power.
We learned that very early on in this series. Chad, what about you?
Doing great.
Thank you for coming. Before we get started, I do want to shout out our top tier patrons. And that would be Josie, Yusuf H, and Old Timmy.
Old Timmy B.
Old Timbo. We love Timmy. Shout out to them. They're all great. And as well as all of our other patrons that we're very thankful for. Unlike Mike on last week's episode, he just roasted them into the dirt. So they will likely all fall off. Sorry, Chad's family.
So it was a good run.
Yeah, it was a good run.
I got the Brady episodes to keep them hooked.
Oh yeah,
There
that's
you go.
right. Seventh patron. Check out lots of great anime series reviews by Chad and his son Brady.
Yeah, future all-star podcaster.
No doubt. I'm waiting for that day where he's just like, we turn around and magically he's like 20 years old and he's like, I want to be a full-time podcaster.
Yeah.
You know,
He's the new Logan Paul.
yeah.
That might be a bad thing though.
Yeah.
So I
Oh,
got.
boy.
Yeah.
I will say that I'm a little out of sorts tonight because I had a CO call last night at work, and I think I may have spent a little too much time in the house because we were there for a long time. So I got like a ripping headache, and I also got like some mutant mosquito bite on my hand. Have you ever gotten a mosquito bite that looks like you broke your wrist, and it's like totally? You probably can't see it very well in the.
If you
camera,
turn it,
but it's like
the-
super. It's super.
Yeah, I can kind of
swollen.
see it when
you see the
when you turn it
redness.
that way.
Yeah.
Yeesh.
You sure it's a
I
mosquito
got some
bite?
West. Yeah, it's a mosquito bite.
You
And
got
I know
some-
we got some West Nile floating around Northeast Ohio here. So
Got some name brand West Nile, like
Yeah.
the officially branded mosquitoes.
If anyone would get West Nile, though, it would be
it'd be
Chad,
me for sure. Yeah,
because you've gotten pretty much every sickness since
Yeah.
you've
Had the
been
gray
with us, so-
scale.
Shingles. Yeah, right. I got
West
I
Nile.
got a disease you normally get in like your 60s. here I am.
Just
Well, hey,
shaking in your shingles.
We learned that there's a cure for that. Just get old
Yes.
Charlie on the case.
Yep.
so many.
But Joe starting us off fresh with the recapping and slapping comment. Love it. That's what we're here for tonight, Joe. And we're glad that you're here with us.
Yeah,
Appreciate you.
I'm glad we can recap this series for you, so you don't have to go back and watch it. But really, at this point, we're really just talking about what needs to be talked about, what doesn't need to be talked about. I feel like we missed a bunch of stuff from
For sure. Yeah.
season 6. I did not like lay into like the Cersei blowing up the Sept enough, just because that's just like a phenomenal. It's not the death of the Sept and all those characters. It's really the death of George's Game of Thrones, right? And the birth of this new Game of Thrones that we have in full force in season 7. Because really, what season 7 is nothing but moments, payoffs, and just epicness.
Yeah, through and through, dude. I texted you like when I started watching it. I think I was like on episode 4. I'm like, dude, this season is so balls to the wall, man. Like every episode ends with like an epic battle. it's just crazy because we're not used to getting that. And I guess if you're a fan of like the palace intrigue stuff, that's practically gone at this point in the show.
Winterfell's carrying the palace intrigue stuff this season.
Yeah.
Especially in the second half. That's where all that
sure.
kind of peaked its head about. Because to shout out like a crazy death in this season that is just kind of not forced, not out of nowhere, but it didn't need to happen. But I'm very glad it did happen, and that was Littlefinger.
Oh, dude, so good. Yeah,
just getting his stuff sliced open by Arya, who's just Arya in this season, as always. She's just her character growth and development has been fantastic, just through and through. Her and Jaime are pretty well up there, and I mean, tons of them, but how they just her reuniting with Sansa finally, and like her in her own way showing Sansa just like how evolved she is as like this assassin sister is like effectively what she is.
Yeah, she's badass in the season. I gotta be honest, I found myself really liking her storyline through this, especially that first. I don't remember liking her sitting down with the Lannister soldiers as much as I did this time. That's such a good scene, dude. What's the
Ed Sheeran.
Ed Sheeran. Yeah. I got that song stuck in my head like all week long that they were singing. Yeah. But
like
it's just cool.
Me. It's a new one.
Yeah, it's a new one. Yeah. But it's just cool to see that, like, I think she's realizing that, like, not all the Lannisters are shitbags. Like, some of them are just doing the bidding. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like the dude says, the guys go off to fight in other people's wars. I think that nails it. They're all, like, super nice. I love that scene. I don't know why. I just really clicked with me this time.
I think it shows how much, like, she just got back to Westeros, right? This is the first time she's really kind of making her presence known about, she's not just like slitting, what's his face?
Walder
Frey's throat. Like, that was first thing
feeding
she did.
him his children.
Yeah. So like, that was her welcome back mission. Now she's just kind of like settling back into some familiar things. And I think with her new outlook in life, how she's so neutral, really, but like she has her agenda, and like if you're not really on that agenda and you're not really messing with her agenda, you're fine, right? Like those Lannister soldiers, like they're good, they're fine.
I think my favorite Arya moments this season have been like people asking her what she's doing, her bluntly telling them exactly what she's doing, and then them like not taking her serious and just laughing, like like in the around the fire, they're like, "What are you doing in King's Landing?" She's like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill the queen," and they just like look around, and they're just like, "Bah!" And she's like, "Yeah, yeah,
funny, right? Yeah, it's hilarious."
And then like same thing happens with Sansa in Winterfell, and
you have a list.
When she tells Sansa about the list, and what list of all the people I'm gonna kill, and Sansa's like, "That's a good one."
Yeah.
And Arya's like, "Yeah, it's a great one."
We all have those, except I actually checked them off of mine. But to her credit, like a bunch of those got checked off for her along the way. Like that was really kind of self-fulfilling prophecy of her list. But the second half here, she kind of has to work through it herself.
Bio says Arya has been number one from the start, baby. Yeah, Arya's awesome.
Old hot pie, got just like a little bit of hot pie.
Dude.
It's not a little hot pie.
No,
boy got big. Boy got big.
It's a thick hot pie.
Yeah. So Mike, what do you think just overall of this season? Did you like this season?
This was probably my favorite season, and episode 4 is probably my favorite episode of the series so far.
Nice.
Episode 4.
Yeah, that was the one that ends with the Dothraki attacking the Lannister army.
The dragon attacking them.
Yes.
My favorite thing about that episode is that in a season of like very big episodes, like extra long episodes, that's a crisp like 45-minute episode.
Right. And it's one of the for sure, dude.
As long as it needed to be.
Exactly. But I'm glad that you said that, because I know that when this season aired, this is when people started to see that the writing was a little bit less. I don't feel that way. I think the writing and this is fine. It's the most watched
season.
Yeah. I think what the problem is that everybody's expecting the we're coming to a close here. We're funneling down into a smaller lane, and they fill all of the writing mishaps with like badass set pieces. So it's like it's well worth it in my opinion. I love this season. I think I liked it even more watching it this time again. It's just so good. It's just the pace of it's great.
Mhm.
It's
great because the main conflict is coming to head with the White Walkers and stuff, and that causes the scene in the dragon pit with literally every major character in the series that we've been following is literally finally all in the same place interacting with each other, which is super cool. And then to go off of something that I finally started watching the post episode clips from the directors and stuff. The episode 4 clip, they talk about how interesting that battle is at the end of the episode, because you have main characters that you have feelings about and generally don't want to see die, and you kind of root for them all the time going against each other.
Right.
So that was another thing that I really liked about the season. So you have like Danny and Jamie fighting, and Bronn. Like,
Bronn's great.
I love that guy, but like that's the kind of character that I would have expected to have died in like season 3.
Yeah.
And we're like
good for him, man. He's holding in there.
We're heading into season 8 and he's still kicking around.
Kicking. Yep.
But yeah, it's just this season was really good. And maybe I have the benefit of knowing that the next season is the last season, so it totally makes sense, the funneling that's happening here, because you can't continue to have like 16 story arcs going.
Everyone knew
right.
that, though.
Like
it was 13 episodes after season 6. Like they signed up for 13.
So they knew. Okay,
everyone knew. Okay. Everyone knew what they were getting into, and it had to end.
And I will say that is the one thing, even though I said the pace, I really enjoy the pacing of the season, just as far as how actiony it is compared to the other seasons. There really needed to be 10 episodes to really flesh out majority of the stuff that we see here. And I think you see that it's problematic that they went down in episodes with a show that really kind of maybe should have went up in episodes, especially these final 2 seasons. It's just so quick, and a lot of the stuff makes perfect sense. It just needs more fleshing out and more backstory behind it.
Bio says this season was coming from writers other than George. It started feeling like Lost or Heroes after / during the writer's strike. That's interesting. No, I thought honestly, I thought this was probably the strongest season, at least in my opinion. I will say, not a fan of Bran. Like, I feel like
dude,
all of his scenes were so dumb. He's just like, man, I'm the 3-eyed raven. I forget who I am, and I'm just not going to be a person anymore.
Yeah, I would just like to know what the direction for him was. Like, you're just gonna like chill in this wheelchair and just talk nonsense all season long.
Yeah.
You know the way your character was the past 6 seasons?
Yeah.
Do nothing
just
like that.
Forget about that.
Forget about it. Just sit there, have no expression whatsoever, and just talk nonsense.
Yeah.
I
Other
agree
than
with
that,
you.
I think like everything else was really good.
The other thing about Bran is he says some like really creepy crap to like Sansa. Like, he's talking about her wedding night. He clearly knows what happened on her wedding night. He was like, "You were beautiful. The snow was falling." He's like, "Did you stay for the tail end of that wedding?" Because I assume you did. Maybe not bring it up. But
yeah.
I mean, I agree with you, Chad, that 10 episodes and some more writing to like fill out some other episodes, that even like slow down some episodes like we're used to, right? Where we kind of just focus on like some other stuff in between the cracks, because with that it would have been easier to pace out some of the spatial logistics of this season that people have gripes with, because I think 3 more episodes would have given even a little bit more extra buffer to say, Tyrell grandma, like, she made it from Dragonstone all the way around the continent to, inland,
Right.
High Garden,
Yeah,
things like that.
I don't notice it with that. I do notice it with what you said with Beyond
That's where
the
it
Wall.
starts. That's where it starts.
Yeah,
really.
the Beyond the Wall stuff, to me, in my opinion, that should have been like maybe even half the season. Like they start
Right.
going beyond the wall and then they
Right.
get trapped and then the rest of the season plays out. And then at the end, everything comes together because it is really, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But at the same time, like this is the same thing that I told you, like people arguing that the ships in Star Wars have gravity. Like who cares? We're watching a science fiction thing. There's dragons and ice zombies.
If the set pieces are good, you're good. Like,
right. I don't care about the travel times. Couldn't care less. And to be honest, most people that complain about that would complain if we had boring episodes of people just traveling. So it's like,
correct.
You might as well just cut it out. If you're going to narrow it down into this, you don't need to have that stuff.
Yeah. And there's still like, really, it was just, I think, there was hints of it. And I think on a second watch, I was like, well, you don't know how much time is passing. Like she could have, they never say that like she landed in Dragonstone. She's only been there 3 days.
They don't have the like text on the bottom, 6 hours earlier.
Right.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. And
so
I think
I think it was a combination of like the hints of it throughout, and then the fact that they did like an overnight for Beyond the Wall. I think that was just like the icing on the cake for people, and it just kind of set people over the edge.
But
by no means, like to me, it doesn't detract from the season.
Yeah, I think watching it the first time, I didn't even pick up on it because they do imply that they're there for an extended period of time. They fall asleep, they wake up, so. It's there, but it does go by very quick. Like it's one scene where they're like sleeping, and so
he can run. That boy can run.
He's quick without that hammer.
Mountains, snow, all of it.
Yep.
Did anyone grab the hammer, or is it lost forever?
I think
Tormund somebody was fighting with the hammer at the end.
It went through a few hands.
A sweet hammer.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I really like that. First off, I like to see Gendry back. I really like this character. He disappeared for a couple seasons. And I do really enjoy that he uses a hammer because his father, that was his choice of weapon as well, was the hammer. So I think that's super cool. I just like the idea of like people fighting with just giant hammer. It's just badass.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that is like glaringly missing from Assassin's Creed Valhalla is like big hammers. Like they have like little Thor hammers, but it's just a cool weapon. Cool design. And they make a foam one, and I really, really want it. I really want to whack the boys with it a couple times, but it's a little expensive at this point.
Yeah. And I mean, speaking of Gendry, I like how he just got scooped up out of the city. That was cool. Old Davos was just like, I got business, in Flea Bottom. I'm going to go pick up the boy. So
that whole scene was good. And his reaction when he like doesn't even ask him to go, and he's like,
he's like, let's get out of here.
Like whatever you're doing, that's what I'm doing.
Right.
You have fun, my man.
Yeah.
And that really bringing him back, and then the whole scene with obviously all the main characters, right, in the Dragon Pit is great, but the best bringing together of a ton of characters is the Beyond the Wall.
For sure.
Yes.
Some of the best one-liners and just like discourse on like, hey, my family hates your family. Hey, I hate you. You hate me. But like, here we are just kind of venturing north of the wall, like a bunch of dumbasses.
Yeah.
And that's what Tormund said. He's like, smart people don't go north of the wall.
Right.
Like looking for.
I really enjoy it. It felt like a Avengers team up of sorts, all our favorite characters. And I like I said back in whatever season 2 they were in the most, I love the Brotherhood. I just think that little group is so cool. So I really,
what's not to love?
Yeah. Flaming swords are awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
I loved Tormund and the Hounds conversation.
Yeah.
About Brienne.
Big ladies.
Yeah. You know that big lady. Just think of the babies we could have.
Good acting too. Because like his eyes, like when he realizes the Hound knows her, he's like, you know her?
Yeah.
You know of who I speak?
He's
love
like,
yeah,
like,
we've met.
Yeah. I love how like infatuated Tormund is with Brienne.
His scenes,
so
his
great.
scenes, even back in season 6, like
him.
when he's like eating the chicken wing, looking at her in season 6, it's your chicken leg. They're great together, dude.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite like side characters for sure.
Yeah, and he came out of nowhere, really. Like what we saw him like maybe 1 or 2 episodes before Hardhome, maybe. Or no, he was in season 3 because he was fighting up the wall.
Yep. Yeah, he was basically one of the early wildlings that their long-standing interaction with.
Yeah.
He's a great
Still
guy.
just love him like in season 6. Just going up to the Lord of Bones or whatever his name is, and
just beating the crap,
straight up murdering.
Yeah.
We need to talk. Nope. Stab. Okay, guys, we need to talk.
We're talking. That's what's happening. And another great thing that some of his dialogue went on about was him and Jon Snow talking about the king beyond the wall, right? And how, for his pride, whatever you want to call it, like he still never bent the knee. Right. But like Tormund here kind of has like a turn in his outlook on things, and he's like, how many of his people had to die for him not, bending the knee?
Yeah.
So this is all while John's like, because even another great one line is like, you spend too much time with the wildlings, having a problem kneeling.
Right. Yeah.
So it's just an interesting conversation because John's like struggling with that, because typically John would be like, yeah, I'll bend the knee, like seems like a fair thing to do, but he's trying to like stick to his like, my people have made me king, so like finally, like there's a king in the north, things are like pretty under wraps in that department, and then Bay shows up and she's like, hey, bend the knee for me, and he's like, nah. And I did not realize how early they made the onset of their eyes for each other. Like the first time I didn't pick up, but this time I totally picked up on it because I knew it was coming. But it was just like, man, I told you, Chad, I was like, man, she's just like melting in her scenes, like starting
she is.
episode 3 for John, and he's keeping a little harder edge to him through and through. But then it's like, hey, we should both sail together to like, oh, okay,
is that what you call it these days?
Of course you guys should both sail there
for sure.
Yeah, so many things. But yeah, back to episode 4. That fight sequence, insane.
Oh,
I love it from like just like an RTS Total War perspective, because it's so like that is what happens. That's just like how it works, and that is probably my favorite line of the season is when Bronn is just like telling Jamie's like pulling out a sword, and he's like ready to fight. It's like, dude, you're their commander, you're not an infantryman. Those fuckers are about to swamp us.
And
like,
I love that line,
like,
bro. Love it.
That's the feeling. Like they're a bunch of Dothraki, and you just got like a 3 deep line of infantrymen. Like you're toast.
Yeah, dude. I thought everything about that was good, even from them realizing that they were coming, like hearing it, that interaction that they're having with Randall Tarley and Dickon, like Bronn laughs at his name. I think it's just hilarious. Yeah. But just that whole interaction of hearing them coming, like it's a very haunting noise, hearing all those horses and them their like scream that they do. And then when the dragon shows up, man, it's like, it's just, there's a lot of, obviously it's not a horror sequence per se, but there's a lot of horror stuff in that. Like the dragon, like gliding over the river towards them is like horrifying looking as they pan out from it.
They do a really good job capturing like what it would be like to, I guess, fight a dragon. As a person, not
be good.
Just burn. Like they're just burning. And like, that's the first thing, like, in the fight, like Jamie's just staring at like all the burning men, like it's insane.
I forget who I was talking to. It might have been Nick, maybe somebody else, I don't remember. But I think another thing that episode does for me, similar to the Battle of the Bastards, but I mean, it's honestly most combat scenes, like big scaled combat scenes, the choreography that they do in these battles, like it just really, I mean, obviously I have no experience. Nobody has this type of experience in these type of battles, right? They don't happen. But they do such a good job of conveying just the absolute chaos that it would be. Like,
for sure.
When they're following Jamie, like stumbling through the battlefield, and there's like horses flying.
Oh,
by
Braun.
him,
Yeah,
like,
they're finishing Braun. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, and they did the same thing in the Battle of the Bastards with Jon Snow. But like, man, those are probably some of my favorite moments of this series, is just like seeing people walk like
through the chaos.
like
You have
in
to
the
have plot
maze
armor.
through.
Like
Dude.
to make it through that, like you
Yeah.
have to have plot armor, because you put yourself in that situation. You're like, literally, I can't look in every direction because it's a horse, it's an arrow, it's a spear, it's an, like, what you name it, like
Yeah.
something's gonna impale you without you knowing.
She's
Speaking of
flicking
plot,
Yeah,
the-
there's a scary person back there.
Yeah.
She's
save that
come
for
the
October.
monitor. Thanks. See you later. Love
Yeah,
you.
I think that the first time we saw one of these panning shots was in Hardhome, following Jon Snow over to the little hut where the dragon glass was. I think that one's really good. I think the one in Battle of the Bastards is great, but this one here I think is hands down my favorite. Following Braun through it, seeing, like you said, the dragon or the horses run over people. He like grabs a sword, stabs, and falls down, and then it pans up and the dragon's like shooting fire. It's just it's so well done, dude.
I also love how like he shoots the dragon with the scorpion, right? It hurts the dragon, but the dragon, it like just turns around and absolutely decimates the saving grace that they thought they had against the dragon.
I love that. And then when he lands, he like smacks something. That might have even been the scorpion. He smacks with his tail. It's just like he's like, fucking thing.
It just
smacks it with his tail.
Yeah, I just threw him off his flight path, really. Like, it's just really, it's just like when Tormund gets shot with an arrow or something. Like, it just slows them down.
Right.
By no means it's gonna take them down.
And I also really enjoyed seeing that, like, the regular arrows just like pelt right off.
Yeah,
them. Like it didn't even phase them at all.
Yeah, it's just a masterful scene, and like to cap it off, you have Jaime trying to play hero at the very end, sees Dany trying to help the dragon.
He's just trying to be barbecued. Like, there's no chance.
Yeah, Dragon turns around, and then Bronn tackles him off. That was just a perfect way to end that scene.
Yeah, and I spent, honestly, I told Nick this. When this first aired, I probably spent a week trying to figure out what the hell is in that water that he's sinking, because there's something down in that water, and you can't tell what it's some sort of structure of some sort. I don't know if it's a cart that from the battle or what, but there's something that you can see. And that back in the day, and this is kind of where I think a lot of people have problems with the writing in this season and the next season, is they got caught up so much in the theories of everything going on that the writing didn't pan out to be as good as some of the theories. And that's a problem you get maybe with like Star Wars sometimes, or some of the bigger things. But that was like, I know that was like one of the things, like on Reddit, like people were really trying to figure out what the hell was in this water. And it's so funny now, because it's such a, like, now that we know the full everything that happens, it's like, who gives a shit what was in the water? Like,
yeah, nothing. We already have enough.
Jaime is in the water. That's the only important thing,
right?
Bronn is in there somewhere. But like, we already, we've spent 6 seasons like baking all of these storylines and all of this stuff, and they can't add anything more at this point, right? Or be mysterious about stuff. They really just need to like put a bow on it, especially when 13 episodes.
Yeah, it's payoff time.
Time.
This is what Mike likes. Like, we almost lost Mike like twice through like George's writing, and then now we got like some showrunners like writing it purely, and he's like, yes,
he's
payoff.
like, yeah, I love it.
Stop killing my favorites.
That's good, man. Because I think if you got that mentality, you're gonna like this season, what you said you did, and you're gonna like the next season, I think, because it's got a same feel to it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I joke, obviously joke about the prior seasons and them angering me, but I mean, it's just, they were really good. I mean, all those events that angered me perfectly like drive the story, right?
Right.
But yes, I do love when things start to, come full circle and tie up nicely. Excuse me, sorry, I was like the hiccups over here. But yeah, I don't know. Do you want to like talk through let's go through main arcs? like
Yeah.
we have been doing, or how do you?
We
wanna
might even be able.
proceed?
Well, I don't know how you planned it, but we probably could just go through the other. There's only 7 episodes. Especially next season, we just rip through the 6 episodes. You know what I mean? Because there's not too many arcs going on that aren't interacting with each other in some way.
Right. Yeah. I was gonna go talk about some other more really cool fights in this
Do it.
season, which
Do it.
which happens really early on, and I think by time, especially with episode 4.
Oh, I didn't even. The other thing that made me like episode 4 so much was the Arya Brienne, like their little sparring duel where Arya just
Oh wow, that was that
completely,
early
like,
too. That was great.
Yeah, I thought that was great. I think Jon Snow and Theon finally reunite in episode 4 as well. I really, really enjoy one of my favorite quotes from Jon Snow, period, is Dany and his interaction about the dragons right before she takes off, where he says, if you use those to melt castles and burn cities, you're not different. You're just more the same. I love that line. I could watch that quote on YouTube like over and over. Like, it's just such a good scene between them two. With the dragons flying in the background. But yeah, that's like, it's easy to say that like we're talking about episode 4, we're really talking about the battle, but really there's a lot of good stuff that happens before all of this stuff too, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and at the very beginning of this season, we get a great I think it's the opener, but we get basically where we left off with over Walder Frey, like she read weddings, his whole family.
Yeah. Great cold open, man.
that just laying
yes.
it on thick with those Freys, like no mercy for them.
Dude, yeah, I loved it. I love that she even plays his character like, obviously it's him acting, but the writing for it is so good, where he like tells the lady next to her, like, I'm not wasting wine on a dumb girl or something like that, so she doesn't drink it.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I thought that's like I said last season, there's a lot of good cold opens in the show, but that one's up there. I, for some reason, had in my mind that the cold open for the season was actually the next scene after that, which was the White Walkers walking, where we see that they have a giant. I think is the first time that we see the giant. So I've mixed those two up in my head, apparently.
Well, the weird thing is like there's so many like ominous cold opens, and then there's also a ton, like the finale just has like probably 4 endings to it. They just keep stacking them on because they gotta be like, oh wait, we have to tell you about this. Oh wait, we have to tell you about this.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking it was over. I'm like, no, we still have to see like Viserion like nuke the wall. Like, there's all these things that I'm waiting to happen, and I'm just like, when is there another episode? No, they're gonna like four
ending it. Yeah.
4 ending it. It's just so that's a weird thing. It's like there's so every I think that's what's their big difference about this season is every action that every character is taking at this point is impacting the entire storyline. Whereas in seasons prior, like obviously Arya could be having her own little bubble storyline that has zero impact on anything else that's happening near term. Bran Beyond the Wall, like for the longest time, that had zero impact on most everything that was happening. But now it's like every piece is moving in like the same like vortex direction toward the same end goal.
Yeah.
And early on, which I liked in this season, and that's what I was gonna say, it gets kind of like forgotten about by the end of the season because so much other crazy stuff happens, is these ship battles.
Yes.
And this like go up a whole nother level that we haven't seen before at all, right? All of a sudden, like navies are like mega important. Ever since like Dany sailed over from Essos, like everyone's got a navy all of a sudden.
Right. Yeah.
But I thought the biggest navy, you know, don't question him. He'll let you know.
Yeah, I love that scene. I think the reason I like that scene so much is it's like episode 2 that it comes out of nowhere if you're not expecting it.
Yeah,
just like his boat.
Just like his boat. But I like the haunting imagery of like the dark and the lightning in the background, and you see the sails. His boat's badass looking with all the different sails.
Euron's,
so extra.
Like flagship is like insane.
Yeah. I think the glaring omission from the rest of this show is that we don't get a lot of naval battles in a time where there probably were a decent amount of naval battles going on. And this is outside of Blackwater and maybe the stuff in Marine at the end with the dragons, you could maybe classify as a naval battle. But Blackwater is not really even a naval, but it's like an explosion in the water. That's basically it.
It's a lot of references to people's navies, and I mean that's kind of how they did the land battles though too. A lot of references to big armies and big battles, big navies, all that. But they don't really flesh it out. But this season they like pulled no stops because they save money on writing, put more into like set pieces. So.
Yeah, I love it. I love the way that he just rams his boat into it, and then he comes flying down on the thing.
That's how you do a boarding ramp, right there.
So cool, man. And I got to give a shout out to his axe. His axe is badass looking.
Dude,
like if you look at the details on it,
Yes.
it's got like octopus suction cups on the inside,
dude,
or squid or whatever that his sigil is.
Everything about Euron was amazing. Like even his like absolutely like sociopath like character. His like I text Nick about his axe, his ship, obviously, just like those extra sails on the side.
It just puts
everything
it over the top.
about his ship is so cool. The design on the sails, straight fire.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's amazing.
It's a bummer. I really, really enjoy Euron, and it's kind of a bummer that we don't get as much of him because he only shows up season 6? Is that when he shows up? Very late in the show he shows up, and you see him become. He's still a side character, but he's much more of a main side character in this season. Mm-hmm. And I agree with you, dude. I love every scene that he's in, especially the throne room stuff. When he's like talking to Jamie and insert like so good.
Dude, so many good picks at Jamie.
Yeah.
But I also love in the Dragon Pit with Tyrion.
Yeah.
Where and then they just kind of like put him in his place, which I was like, oh, thank God, finally somebody.
Yeah. Never explain it. You ruin it if you explain it.
Yeah. Yes. But in that like first ship battle too, like the Dorne girls,
Snakes,
the two or do all three? No, two of them are killed, and then the mother and the one who cures Bronn in the prison cell get captured and delivered to Cersei's little personal torture dungeon.
Yeah.
Probably with the Septon lady.
She's probably still down there getting tortured by the mountain. So
shout out to Rebecca from Ted Lasso.
Oh yeah, you said that was her. I really, I don't know why I have such a tie to the Sand Snakes. I just think they're cool. They're cool characters. I think they kind of went out kind of lame, in my opinion. At least two of them.
Yeah.
I think the scene with Cersei and the other one and the mom was really good. But I just would have liked to see more of them because they're like badass fighters, but they do get swamped by, you know, a massive battle. So it wasn't exactly fair, but
they thought they were going to have a nice peaceful sail over the Dorne. But old Euron just whipping the biggest navy ever around town.
Yep.
Apparently like super stealth mode too. I don't know how you don't like, I mean, I know it's dark. I'm not a sailor, so I don't know if like
I would have
honestly hear boats of that size like cruising on the waves towards you.
I feel like it would be similar to Dothraki. Like
I don't know
something.
I don't know because there's a storm. There's a storm going on right now. You know, they're in the middle of the ocean. The ocean's loud,
are going. So I guess you could.
And he's all. You also got to remind. To go back to your boat thing, he's all blacked out. Like his boats are all black, so it's got to be almost impossible to see.
His fleet is straight murdered out.
Right? Yep. Yeah, for sure.
He's like, you know what? We needed to build new ones. I like the all
flat
black
all around. Let's go.
Black sails.
But I mean that starts the downturn of Tyrion's like master plan that he proposed to Dany, right, to go to Dorne and Casterly Rock, right?
Yeah, because that's really the first like 2 episodes is Tyrion and basically entire Team Danny like trying to like play it cool, like we're gonna move in here, we got allies, we have friends, and it's like, yeah, no, you don't, not really. And that's another cool thing that builds up just in the first 2-3 episodes, right? All before episode 4 when everything like really flips over, because the first 3 episodes is all about tearing Danny down, because Danny shows up and you're like, oh my god, like she's gonna steamroll Cersei, right? But it's like she's got a few tricks up her sleeve. Euron's just like out there running amok. Jamie pulls the fast one on them,
which is super
Castle
cool.
Rock.
Yeah, that's
that
super
was
cool
very
because it's a callback to what Rob did to him, which I thought was really, really cool. That he like learned from the battle previous and did it to his enemy.
Yeah, and I like the narration of that too, because Tyrion's describing how this siege goes, right? So we get the narration from Tyrion. Meanwhile, we get to see
the actual
the Unsullied doing it. But then it's just, then all of a sudden Grey Worm was like, there should be more people here.
I also like because we see Tyrion and which leads into Jon Snow later, convincing Danny to be more I don't know, humanitarian or like play the political game, right? She hasn't done it this entire time. She's just gone corrected a wrong in her eyes with the most insane brute force that she could do.
Right.
And Tyrion's like, hey, if you want to be like queen over here,
we're gonna
you probably can't do that. And then that of course leads into Jon Snow, and the whole wheel thing. You want to break the wheel, you can't continue to do more of the same. And then of course that we see that the downfall here in these first few episodes with the fleet getting attacked and sacked, and then the Casterly Rock thing with Jaime duping them and making it to Highgarden and taking out Granny Savage. So it's kind of cool, a cool way to like nerf Danny.
Oh yeah, for sure.
She needed nerfed.
Yeah, definitely. I really enjoy. Like Nick said, I love the narration part of it. I think that was such a cool way, because even though I would love to watch every one of these episodes that are big battles, they could get a little boring if they don't spice it up in some way. So I like the naval battle. It's different. The next one is the narration. I think is a really, really cool way to do it. The music in that scene too is just so on point. When they flip to the Lannisters, the Lannister song is playing as they're all coming together in the middle there and walking. It is also cool to finally see Casterly Rock and Highgarden, 2 places we've heard a shit ton of, but we never saw until this season. We didn't see much of them, obviously.
Casterly Rock is an interesting castle. Like, it's very traditional, like castle you would think of as a medieval castle, but it's like it's white and it's like short, kind of like it's not your typical. It's got such a unique look to it.
It does.
Very round with like the turrets and stuff. Very interesting.
I do need to point out that because early, I don't remember what season you were talking about, the Sullied fighting in the narrow areas with the spears. Grey Worm was whooping ass in that narrow hallway with the spear. So it's not even a concern for them.
Yeah, not at all. They're dedicated to those spears. That's for sure. They don't go anywhere without them. Those spears and shields.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that really, that's what the first 3 episodes primarily are, is
hashtag nerf Danny.
Nerf Danny, right? We have all these ideas and expectations of like her steamrolling and like how you think all these set pieces are going to go. Like, you think you're going to see a big Unsullied battle, and it's really kind of like tearing that back a little bit and just like saying the board is still shuffled, like really shake up the board.
And just it's a good reminder that like the Lannisters aren't like some dumb pushovers. Like, they're clever, and they are like good strategists. And like
Jaime, he's like, I'm a slow learner, but I learn.
But like I loved that the aftermath of Highgarden, right? He's just booking it straight
so
to
good.
Granny Savage.
Yeah, so
and
good.
that whole interaction, she stays like savage till the very end.
Very end, dude.
Like,
So good. Such a good way for her to go out, man.
man.
I couldn't imagine a better way for her to go out. Just
oh
that,
yeah,
the whole thing, just them sitting down discussing things. And then when he puts the poison in her glass, she's like, "Is there going to be pain?" And he's like, "No." And she instantly grabs it and drinks it. Like,
Yeah.
it's just so good.
and she's like, "Yeah, it's a shame I didn't do that to your son.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a shame I made that about as painful as it could possibly be."
Right. And then
just,
that
the
final
look on his face.
Yeah.
he's
And then
just-
the final line of "Tell Cersei." I want her to know it was
Oh,
me.
man.
So good, dude. I love her. I love her more and more every time I rewatch this series. Like, she's just a great actress.
Mhm. Yeah.
Another side thing, easy to forget, but must touch on it. Over in Old Town,
Yes. Yeah.
we have old Sam runs into Jorah
That's
Mormont.
right. Yeah.
Just like Jorah's like trying to get some treatment,
Doing
figure
his
it
best
out.
Chad impression
Yep.
and recover from the grayscale.
and that's another thing that kind of plays out in these first like couple episodes, few episodes, and that's he finds him, and we kind of get this other very distant relationship where like Jorah Mormont, his dad was Lord Commander, all that gets tied together. And then, in episode, I believe 2, he he's trying to figure out, because Sam's just going hard in the paint on those on these books. Like, he's reading books all the time, and he's even breaking into the restricted area. Reminds me of Harry Potter quite a bit on that bit. You break into the restricted area, get the good books. But yeah, he's looking for a cure for him. And I also like, and this happens throughout those episodes, but when he's just like obviously after he cures Jorah, which is great. Mike like told me he absolutely couldn't even like watch that scene, which is pretty.
Dude,
I wanted to vomit. So bad.
Dude, the cut, yeah.
So
And it's got
They did a lot of it too. Like they did the whole like one breast, and I'm like, they are not stopping. Like,
and then the transition into like the shepherd's pie or whatever. I'm like,
yeah, dude, so good. I love it.
They're good at that. They always bring that little flair of like comedy and like just like
speaking of comedy, just like the introduction to Sam's arc in this season, where it's just a montage of him like emptying
the montage
buckets
was
of poop and like scrubbing the bedpans.
Oh, dude, that'd be
so
me
great.
for sure.
Oh, yeah, that was great. I completely forgot about that altogether. I'm like, man, this just keeps going and going. Anything with Sam,
solid
like
3 minutes of him just dumping feces into a bucket and trying not to barf.
Yeah.
And it's also terrible too, because like he's taking care of all these old maesters, and like he's going into like this bedroom of just tons of them, and they just got all their little chamber pots under their beds, and
then I love that he's like serving soup that almost looks like it's coming out of the same thing. It is so good, dude. I love it.
It is so bad. But my favorite part, like the favorite moment there, is when he's just rescribing the book, and like he's just like drowning in the book, and his woman is just like also reading with him, and she just very quietly, nonchalantly, unbeknown to like a ton of people how important this is, but just kind of riddles off the fact that the main maester at the time annulled old Targaryen boys.
Yeah, Rhaegar and Elia.
Yeah, he annulled Rhaegar's previous marriage, and it's like, and he just kind of like glazes over it. Everyone glazes over it, but you're like, wow, they just kind of like.
Yeah, can you explain that in a little more depth? Because obviously at the very end of the season, it's the massive reveal,
just like,
obviously.
Just like it's like, everyone, hold on, I have to tell you something for the plot here.
So you knew at the end of season 6 that
she whispers into
Rhaegar and Lyanna, that's Jon Snow's parents, not Ned, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in this scene that he's talking about, she rattles off very quickly, might I add. Like it's like 10 seconds maybe that she rattles off that Rhaegar, this maester, had the marriage of Elia, who is Oberyn Martell's sister, and Rhaegar annulled, and they remarried Rhaegar and Lyanna in a secret ceremony, making Jon Snow not a bastard, an actual true-born Targaryen, because he was married, obviously, at the time. But that reveal comes later in the season and in more fleshed out way. But it's literally in like episode 1 or 2, maybe they rattle it off super quick.
I think it's 3 right before they leave.
Yeah.
Does that mean Jon and Dany are siblings?
That means that they are.
Aunt.
Dany is Jon Snow's aunt.
Because she is
Rhaegar's sister.
Okay.
Very young sister.
Yeah, it's still kind of gross.
Yeah, but
no one's saying it's not.
But
gross.
yeah, no, nobody's saying it's not gross.
No,
but,
I was trying to like internalize.
Oh, you're trying to process.
Oh, you're trying to process.
Okay?
Yeah.
Is it worse
Jon.
than Jaime and Cersei, or
I don't think
it's still kind of gross.
I don't think it is, and there's an important distinction. They don't know that they're related.
That's
Jaime
true.
and Cersei know that they're brother
and they're
and
not
sister.
like, I mean, aunt. So yeah, I mean, I'm not condoning any of this, obviously.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to
try to save your boy John from
It's a nice touch
going
back,
into that.
I mean, to other themes in the series.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Anyways.
so yeah, that's
It's funny because Nick texted me during the season. He's like, dude, Mike is going to be so devastated that John hooks up with his aunt.
yeah.
Like,
Well,
right.
I think I'm a little less devastated because I was like, oh great, they're siblings. Here we go again.
No, they're not siblings yet.
Less devastated, still grossed out though. But yeah.
well,
But it's like at this point they don't even know. Nobody knows. Like literally only Bran and Samwell know at this point. So they have no idea.
I wonder if
who did he
no
tell?
spoilers obviously, but like when this gets revealed to Jon and Dany, are we gonna have like an Ace Ventura moment where like, Ace figures out like Finkel is Einhorn and he's like thrown up all over his bathroom and like scrubbing his tongue with his toothbrush?
I don't remember. I think John's not the biggest fan of it either. We'll have to wait and watch, but yeah, they do touch on that a little bit. They definitely don't glaze over it like Jaime and Cersei do.
Right. It's just common practice for them.
The icing on those two is like they are twins. Which like it's just insane. Like they're basically the same person.
See,
right.
I feel like
so maybe it's just like they're doing themselves, I guess. They're just
right. Yeah,
if they're just happen to be two of you.
I mean, they also like Cersei and Jaime kind of have the same haircut the last 2 seasons.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
No, I think like also maybe I might be reading Jaime's like body expressions and stuff during the scenes where he's like you're gonna tell him who the father is, or like you can't open the door where like we can't be seen like this, and like I can't tell if he's like concerned or like starting to be like happy.
It's disturbing how normal it's becoming for them and how easy that she is just being like, I'm gonna tell. Like we find out obviously that she's pregnant. She's like, I'm going to tell everybody that you're the father. Like what? That sounds like a really fucking poor choice as the queen to say, yes, the baby that we're having is my brother's. Like you're
but I can't tell if he's like okay with everyone knowing or not. Not that it like makes it any better, but I just want to like.
To me, Jaime is still a great character, but also like the most morally like confused, because
they check you often on his character. Like they give you a lot of checks, like don't feel too bad for him because he's still having sex and impregnating his sister.
Yeah, he's
so
still blinking his twin.
Yeah,
so guys, remember that's gross.
Yeah, his just whole demeanor is just tricky because like he's trying, but he's also just like giving up. Like he kind of basically knows like he can't get away from Cersei, right? And like he can't. He's gonna try to do. He's gonna like preach the morally right thing, but like at the point at which Cersei's like, I'm the queen. He's just like, well, yeah, you're the queen. Following
I think
you.
I think the walls are closing
Right back
in
to
on
the
him.
bed. I mean, what? No.
Yeah, the walls are closing in on Jaime a lot through this season. Even the first interaction with Cersei over top of the map, where he's like, "We are in like, this is really bad. We're screwed." Like, I don't think you realize how screwed we are. We have no friends whatsoever. So I think that, and you see that towards the end of the season when they have their falling out. Like, I thought that was coming for a while. Like he's not buying the shit anymore from her.
Yeah,
that's how I took it.
I thought that was going to be the end for Jaime. Honestly,
yeah. So did
that whole scene was so good. It was like so full of tension.
Yeah.
He just walks past the mountain, and I'm like, he's gonna like
chuck
his sword through Jaime's like throat or something across the room.
Any second now. Like he already survived once.
Yeah, but he doesn't. And then like you get the scene of him. This was ending probably like 2 of the episode or something, where he's like, riding out of the city, and the winter finally came right on Jaime's
so cool.
hand.
Yeah.
And as he's like looking at the snow, I was like, the mountain's just gonna come up and just like impale him, or that's not snow, it's ashes, and it's because Danny
Danny's ripping through
over and he's about to get scorched, but no, it's just snow.
Yeah, I like that. I love the panning shots of King's Landing with the snow falling at nighttime. I think it's really cool. I do want to go back to the Jon Snow thing though, real quick, because I guess we're not really technically there, but the name Aegon Targaryen really bothers me, and I'll explain why.
Because of egg?
No, not because of egg. Which is actually another character. But
I was gonna say, wasn't that the guy that the maester at the wall was talking about?
Yeah, the big issue I have is that Rhaegar and Elia, is that her name? Elia Martell? Maybe. They had kids, and we talked about how they were brutally murdered, allegedly. The son that they had is named Aegon Targaryen. So then he leaves his wife, knocks up his new wife. They have a kid and then name it Aegon Targaryen.
Redo.
And I don't know. I don't know if, because I know that like, if you listen to the history and lores thing, there's like some discussion that there was some sort of prophecy with Aegon, his son. So I don't know if he renamed this one thinking this was going to fulfill whatever prophecy,
it goes with the prophecy, just follows the name. So
the name,
like Mike said, redo.
I figured he like doesn't want to give up on that prophecy. Like obviously my other son got viciously murdered, so he's not the prophecy. So maybe I'll just name this one Aegon. Or the much more logical thing that I think is practical is that the fucking writers forgot that this kid existed, and they named Jon Snow Aegon, not thinking that he existed, because that Aegon is a major character in the books.
Wait a second.
Yes.
So is that do we not know if that's how George wrote it?
So yeah, this is where it gets a little funky, because from my knowledge in the books, there is a character that is playing or either pretending to be or actually is the first Aegon Targaryen, and he like ran away, escaped, didn't get murdered. Obviously, he doesn't show up in the show at all, along with a lot of characters from the books. So I'd have to read the books really to get the answer to that question.
Yeah, I guess I didn't think about that. I just assumed that that's such a big like reveal.
Yeah,
and, like so integral. I was like, yeah, that has to be in the books, but I guess we don't. No, technically.
Yeah, I don't. To be honest with you, they're not even at this point in the book yet. Obviously,
right. That's what I mean.
It's not even written, so we don't know if George George's
like, oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, right. Yeah, let me
rewrite the book. People like Rhaegar. Shout out, Here's the Storm. That's all I can think about. I hear Rhaegar.
Rhaegar.
People like him make my actual like real job a living nightmare, because I do like genealogy work. And like you'd be surprised at how often that actually happens.
Really? The same? Yeah.
Wow. There's like and it always happens to be like the most common name too. It's like, oh, William Smith. There's like 5 William Smiths, the first through the 5th.
All related.
Thanks. Yeah, same middle initial. Like, man, it really makes my job absolute nightmare. Anyways.
Right. Yeah, I just thought it just stuck out like a sore thumb to me. I don't know. It feels like a writing mistake. That's the vibe I get from it. They don't give you any sort of in the show. They don't give you anything about a prophecy involving Aegon. It's in the background stuff that we see, and it might even be a theory video that I was reading. I can't even remember if it's the history and lore stuff. So it's odd. It's odd. Seems like a misstep.
Yeah. In other news, other like characters testing like their not alliances, but just like their characters in general. Like Dany's like pressing people too early on in the season. Like she kind of lays into Varys really hard. And she's really just kind of like sniff checking everyone around her. Because she's like highly suspicious about who's all part of the wheel still. Like what is the definition of the wheel? What am I here to break? So that's more of the castle drama gossip going on. So we do get flares of it here and there. And the
Also,
other bit of it, go ahead.
How there are right now 3 off the top of my head instances of characters just being like, "Oh, what, you gonna kill me?
Yeah,
go ahead and do it then."
Yeah,
because you have Varys does it, Tyrion does it, Jaime does it. Does anyone else do it?
Littlefinger does, and then actually gets killed.
Yeah.
He begs like a little.
Yeah, he begs.
Oh, dude, the
that's what I was
facial...
gonna mention next. It's just like his slithering for no reason around like Winterfell, and like even Bran and everyone's just like, "What? Why is he here?"
Dude, yeah, you can really tell that along with all the viewers of the show, all the characters have had enough of his bullshit. Like he's getting
leaning against walls.
He's
like,
getting
whispering
nowhere.
in the sands all creepily, like, "No, it's always you, but first it was your mother."
Yeah. So you could just tell that like his time's coming to an end in this season, like all season long.
Oh, I just loved like Arya strolls up and like as she turns to stroll back, just decimates his throat.
Right.
Like doesn't even break a sweat. One fluid motion, like not a problem. And then he's dead.
I love his facial expressions in that scene. I think he does an awesome job portraying like the panic in him. Like when he realizes that like shit's over, like the veil's not going to help me. Nobody's going to help me. And then he gets down and begs. But once he realizes the begging's not doing that, like facial animation that he does is so good, dude.
Well, I'm like, this is what I've talked about the entire series. Like when someone is a scumbag, like just stop doing what they say. What are they going to do? Like Joffrey, he was like 12. Like he could have literally just backhanded him and be like, shut up, you're 12.
Yeah.
Tyrion.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
But like, I mean, obviously doesn't make for as cool of a story.
Right.
Obviously. That was a big gripe of mine early on. Just like, what's this kid gonna do? Or like,
he had gold cloaks though. Like he can just snap his fingers because he had the psycho pedophile gold cloak at his side too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, I feel like there are more people that were like, yeah, this kid's like a scumbag. Or like with Littlefinger, obviously he's in a room full of people who are like, no, we hate you. We're not fall for this anymore.
You going?
the stare down between you guys. That was awesome.
What I thought was more clear, and I thought I would have more clarity on after watching it a second time, was the misdirection and like the whole Sansa Arya Littlefinger thing. On the second watch, I kind of realized I'm like, well, Littlefinger didn't really see half of their fights for no reason. So like that was a little weird why that was just like overly played up just for them that like at the end be like, we're just gonna kill you. Like I'm just gonna accuse you of all the things you already like Mike said, like at any point in time, Sansa could have just called him out and been like, there's not like I was thinking like, oh, does he like step forth and like try to be schemy and they just couldn't catch him in his crap? But instead, like he's just on the wall per usual.
Yeah.
And
No,
she's-
I just took it
shocked.
as like,
Yeah.
you know, Bran sitting there next to Sansa and he can see in the past and the present, right? So he probably was like in his own weird Bran way, just like, oh, hey, Sansa, by the way, this is every single way Littlefinger has screwed over our entire family.
Yeah.
Like,
And I know that a lot of people had trouble with how quickly this pans out, like how quickly they outsmart Littlefinger, the guy that has not been outsmarted really at all throughout the show. But
That's
I
what-
don't see that. I don't know
what
if
were
it's
they
maybe
outsmarting him on though? Like
they're the entire season I felt like was building up to this
Yeah.
reveal. When you see Bran talking to Littlefinger and he calls out the chaos is a ladder thing, something he said
Yep.
in confidence to somebody else.
yeah,
I felt like it wasn't
even the knife.
quickly
the whole
outsmarting him.
dagger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I thought, okay, so this is gonna get real dark and twisted, but you know, this is what Game of Thrones.
yeah,
has
it's Game
done
of
for me.
Thrones, bro.
When Littlefinger comes in and sits down at the table with Sansa, like shortly after Arya and Sansa's little interaction, and Arya being like, you know, if I wanted to walk around, you know, and wonder what the being the Lady of Winterfell was, all I would need is your face, or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever her like, how she opened that up, that whole dialogue, it sounded eerily similar to how Littlefinger opened up his like, what I would do is I would put myself in their shoes or whatever, and blah. So I was like, oh my god, Arya murdered Littlefinger.
Oh,
Is
and you
wearing
thought
his face right
yeah,
now. and
yeah.
she's
Oh.
about to kill Sansa, and I was like,
yeah,
this is gonna be so crazy,
Right,
But
yeah.
no, that's not what it was. But
No.
man, that would have been nuts.
it would have been great, but dude, I
guess-
could
I guess-
watch.
Thinking about it, I guess they're just building evidence against him, like
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like you could tell just like all season long, it's not a quick outsmart at the end. It's all
No.
season. Everybody's fed up with this bullshit. Like
Right.
nobody wants him around.
Well, I love
nobody's-
the like the Arya spying on Littlefinger, who's actually spying on Arya.
Yeah.
That whole thing was like, okay, that was nifty. I like that.
Yeah, and he's a smart guy, but not in this season. He kind of is a little dumber, but he's kind of at the end of his rope because he goes from like making all the moves around the Seven Kingdoms to where it's like, well, all I got left is just kind of creeping on Sansa around Winterfell.
Right.
But I think he like obviously underestimates them because they're
Yes.
girls, but also like young. So he's like, I don't have to stay
I
sharp.
think-
like
yeah.
I'm manipulating like
I got
young
this.
That
young
comes
women.
that comes, I think, from his manipulation of Kat and the sister. Can't remember her name off the top of my head right now. Back in the day, you know, the sisters back then and the sisters now, but these sisters are radically different from Kat, and
Yeah.
so
Much
I
smarter.
like the parallels there for sure. But
yeah,
dude, I could watch that death scene over and over, like just his begging
Yeah.
and his
Those guys,
gargling
man.
on his blood. It was like a great payoff after all his
Hate that
bullshit.
guy.
Yeah,
It's
Arya
almost
just
as
does
good as
not care.
Joffrey's death.
it was almost as good. I agree.
Arya just does not care.
No,
Yeah.
nope.
She's here for the slicing.
Yep.
She even says that, right? Like her and Sansa's little talk afterwards. Like,
Yeah.
you know, she's basically like, you know, being Lady of Winterfell really suits you, and Sansa says something about it, and she's like, nah, I'm cool with being like the bodyguard. Like,
Yeah. Yep.
I
don't
just want to,
know.
I literally only want to kill people.
She's like, I'm just the executioner. you made the call.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just doing my job.
I don't know if you guys.
please give me another one.
This is totally
Anyone
this
else?
is totally off topic, but did you notice that Eddie Munson is in the show from
Yeah, dude.
Stranger Things? Okay, I
Yeah.
didn't know if you guys picked it up because it's pretty quick.
Yeah, it's
The
like
scene.
1.5 minutes
Yeah.
on the show.
Yeah.
Also, the Tarly's son is
a new actor.
big character in
Yeah.
the Umbrella Academy.
Oh,
he's
okay, yeah.
literally the big hairy like
Oh, gotcha.
buff
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that show.
Nope.
Also, have you seen Black Sails? Probably not, but it's amazing.
No, I want to. I
pirate
want
show.
to. Yeah, I
You
want
should
to.
check that out. He plays a pretty big character in that show too. So seeing him pop up in this, I was like, oh sweet. And then he was in for like 5 minutes,
And then he gets
burned through
roasted.
crisp.
Yeah.
And I was like, ah, dang it.
Yeah, I thought it was odd that they changed actors again. Like I kind of hate when they do that stuff, because he was a totally different actor in season 6 when we saw him at at the dinner table. But
oh, that was the same dude.
Yeah, same son.
Oh,
same son.
Well, I just assumed that like since they kept calling him Rickon, that like that was the guy who was at the dinner table.
Oh, that was Rickon, and this is Dickon. Yeah.
Dickon.
I do love I do love like when Bronn just laughs at it.
Yeah, it's so good, man. But I really enjoy. I wish we saw more of him. I love Randall Tarley, especially after Nick told me to go watch that like breakdown of in his history and lores, dude. He's just awesome. He's an awesome character for being like a background bannerman to the Tyrells. He's just got that medieval military commander vibe to him, you know?
Oh yeah. And that really helps, like watching that or listening to it, whichever, kind of reinforce that, because you kind of get his gravitas where he's rolling around, because it kind of gives a little bit more weight to him and Jamie's conversation, where Jamie's like trying to just like reinforce that he's like, hey, I know you're kind of like in a weird spot, but you really need to like stick it out with me, because I need someone else like to help me out here.
Right.
Like we need allies. And that was, and this is also like Cersei and Jamie's one of their main bouts between each other is like, she's like, I listened to father, I learned, I'm smarter than you at all this stuff. Meanwhile, Jamie's like just trying to like scrape together things like, we need help, so I'm gonna talk to the military guys. Like very like one tracked mind. Like we just need to like figure something out. And he's thinking he's doing all this stuff to help. Meanwhile, Cersei's just like running circles.
Oh yeah,
She's funny though, because like she's obviously never experienced the things that he has, and he's like experiencing everything that she's putting them through, like on the ground, and he's like, dude, like you think you're smart, but like you have not seen the things that I've seen. Like you have to stop doing this.
Right.
Typical.
Yeah, I really enjoy Cersei through the season. First off, I love that she's finally, like I said, she's finally dressing like a villain. All her Kingsguard are finally dressing like villain Kingsguard. You know what I mean?
First off, their armor looks uncomfortable, but it looks sweet.
It looks sweet, but it looks horrifyingly uncomfortable. I really, really like her arc with the Iron Bank as they're sorting all that stuff out. I think that's super cool. She's got the Tywin part of the family down. You know what I mean? In my eyes, at least. Jamie's got maybe the military side of his dad down, and then she's got the behind the scenes red wedding plotting stuff down, which is super cool. And then one of my favorite scenes with her is her and Tyrion towards the end. I think the final episode, second final episode. Just so good, dude. Like their interaction there is great. Just his fear on his face as he's walking through the hallway. I really liked seeing Tyrion back in the midst of, like, even when he goes to meet with Jamie earlier on in the season to set this stuff up. It's cool to see that, because we saw a lot of it before and we've been away from it for a while. So it's cool to see him back interacting with them.
I'm so glad that Jamie like finally stood up to Cersei and was just like, you know what? No, like this is bigger than you, and like I'm keeping my word.
Did you think when she came out after Tyrion had talked to him, did you think that she was legitimately going to join forces for any moment? No. Okay.
It's Cersei. Come on.
Yeah. I thought it's just such a freaking dirty move, dude. I can't stand it.
Just like, Jamie, you're an idiot if you think we're really going to do any of it.
Yeah. Like he's plotting the route they're going to take over the map.
That's a
good
cool
guy,
scene,
Jamie,
too.
over there.
Yeah.
That's a cool scene, too. He's got all his military commanders, and they're like legitly like thinking this out. Like, you're going to go here, we're going to go there, and we're going to hoorah.
The floor map is honestly a brilliant idea.
Oh, so good. Yeah.
That
paint your floor the map. I mean, come on.
in the little like open room too. Like it's great.
Yeah. I love that. I love that room because
it tops
it
the Dragonstone map. Like that's way more practical.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. But I love that whole room because the roof, there's no ceiling, so it's just like the sky there. It's just, I love it. I wonder if that's somewhere, if that's a set.
I think about this every time they are up in that, I assume, tower. Like where in the Red Keep is that room? And like the Queen's suite, like she's been hanging out up there, and she's just, I mean, that's where I think she was held up by the High Sparrow too.
Yes,
because that's where they roll up in that courtyard, and that's where like the mountain's just like little flies.
and behind them is the small council table that we saw throughout the entire season. You don't realize that it's right next to that opening there. It looks like it's in a room, but it's right behind that table there. So I don't know where
the villain armor like switch. Did they finally get our boy the Mountain a bigger helmet? So
his eyes weren't
bulging out of the eye holes.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
his helmet is so cool. I love that design. Like
for sure,
man.
Yeah, that I noticed that like when they're all walking to the meeting, and she has like more Kingsguard wearing that armor. I was like, okay, they've updated that since the V1 on the mountain.
Fat's not like rolling over the.
Speaking of a close up there, when him, like, I like how him and the Hound just hijack the beginning of this very important meeting to just stare each other down and be like, listen here, you big fucker. Like, you know what's coming for you. You know what's always been coming for you.
Oh my gosh. I love the Hound so much. And I love him even more that like you pointed out who he actually is, Nick. Like
right. I think he's as cool as the Hound. Like
he's just like
his
IMDb page is amazing, but like I didn't even realize that he's the dumb like grocery store worker in Hot Fuzz.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's the guy that says yarp all the time. Like that.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. Oh, that's hilarious.
I know. I think it was whoever posted that meme, and I think you did in Discord, and it was
I posted it somewhere.
And I was like,
hey,
is
that's
that
the Hound.
Out of nowhere. Oh no, he's great, and especially like how he's like fully against his will, like a good guy.
Yeah,
like
he hates
not by his choosing
being a good guy.
Yeah.
I really like the callback to going back to the cabin. First off, I know I say it all the time. I love super snowy scenes in TV shows. It's like a freaking blizzard while they're rolling up to that place. But that's the daughter and the son that he like beat the crap out of the dad and stole the money with Arya. That's that cabin, and they did end up dying like he said they would when winter would come. So I thought that was really cool, and
that's
you could tell that
go in there.
Yeah, he knew it. He didn't want to go in there, and he was trying every way to get out of it, but it wasn't working.
Yeah, dude, his just his dialogue and mannerisms, and how he literally tries to fight every fiber of goodness in his body, like as he's doing good. It's just what a character.
Yeah, so good, man.
So it just ends with like the F word and him doing the right thing.
Yeah.
He hates it.
The side characters in this show are just so good.
They are.
It honestly, okay, like you guys are gonna get annoyed because I'm gonna talk about Mr. Robot, but like the similarities between cast in both shows, like every character in Mr. Robot is perfectly cast, perfectly acted, and perfectly written. It's the same thing with all the side characters in Game of Thrones.
I agree.
They're just brilliant. Like every character is so good.
And you said this, Chad, about like Bronn, like eventually he becomes a little underused, and even in this season he's a little underused. But even our underused great side characters, when they are there, it's fantastic.
It's like fantastic.
Like it's enough to keep you going.
I agree.
So the other thing here, before we advance too far, I think we're roughly around like episode 4, about to bleed into 5. But before we go too much further, I do want to touch on this is very cool how this all kind of came together. But you know, the big reason for and big drama around Jon is he went south once again. The King of the North went south. That's never good for any King of the North.
Doesn't pan out well. Very often.
but not John. John's got plot armor. It pans out very well for John to go south. Good for him. But you know, he needs that dragon glass, and you know, Sam, being a little book study he is, tells John, writes a raven. He's like, hey, Dragonstone has a ton. I guess who's at Dragonstone? Dragon Queen. Go figure. So he goes there. He can, you know, through a lot of very good dialogue and a lot of good tension between John and Dany, where she like turns on her like psycho eyes and is like, bend the knee or I'm going to burn you. Like, like she just gets so short so quickly. But he like puts up the very, very good, like stoic, like honorable Ned-Stark Jon Snow, like
to a fault.
Lady.
Yeah, to a fault though.
He's like, and he knows it to like he will admit to a fault, like I'm probably gonna die, but I just gotta do it. Like this is how it is.
I can't help myself.
Yeah,
can't help myself.
I enjoy all his even before leaving for Dragonstone, because again we get little Lady Mormont, some more little Lady Mormont. She's fantastic. I don't know if I said this before. She's playing Ellie in The Last of Us on HBO. I don't know if you guys knew that or not. The little Lady Mormont.
Yes,
character.
That's who I thought it was.
Yeah, she's playing Ellie.
Yeah.
So that's super cool. It's cool that she's coming to play Ellie and Oberyn's coming to play, you know, from two characters from Game of Thrones.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I love little Lady Mormont.
Oh, she's so good, man. She's so good. And they knew it. They knew that she was hot, because she might even open the season. Like the first real scene of the season involves her. So
you gotta have the internet flair. You know,
yeah.
When the meme lords were being birthed.
Right.
But the dragon glass was cool because she's finally just like, yeah, whatever, you'll bend the knee, or like, go get your dragon glass.
Right.
And just
well, like at this point, she thinks it's like, she doesn't really believe what she's saying, and she's like, whatever, just let him go.
You're annoying. You're cute.
Go play in the sandbox. I don't care. Get out of here.
Yeah.
But the when he leads her like deep into the cave, and there are the cave drawings from the Children of the Forest, right? And they're kind of recapping some history here, and you know, she was like, before men were ever like here. He's like, no, look, like they were here.
Yep.
And there's like, oh, what were they doing together? They were fighting these insanely drawn White Walkers on the wall. Like they looked as scary as like a real White Walker.
Right. Yeah.
So I thought that scene was just super cool.
I really, really, really like that scene. I don't know if they're hinting at like, the one is like obviously the leader of the White Walkers looks nothing like the Night King. So I don't know if there's like when they're reborn or whatever.
That was the first Night King drawing.
The first
from
Night
episode
King.
1. That was the first one. They just didn't update the cave art.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah.
They missed it in the Dany nerf patch.
Right.
The Dany nerf patch. But yeah, I just want to touch on that just because.
No, yeah, it's very important because of course that gets the wheels turning. Like, oh, maybe those.
Well,
two,
that
they're
I
so
think
different. We must work together. I see. Blah blah blah.
Yeah. I think
troping it up. We're starting to trope it up.
Yeah, definitely one like, you know, the cute boys leading you into a cave with his torch,
right?
Like, to go get some cave drawings.
Yeah.
Like that's where you're like, huh?
Never mind.
Yeah.
No,
so yeah, so like this comfortably, I think, brings us into like episode 5, right? And the beginning of episode 5 is obviously after the very fun battle with the dragons and the Lannisters. So we get old Dickon and his dad, and their captured men, basically getting a very intimidating speech from Dany with Drogon like over her shoulder on the little like outcrop. By no means, and like Drogon like is totally in sync with like her speech too, because he's just like staring them down, like just making them kneel one by one. So like he's getting a rise out of as much as she is.
I think this whole thing, and similarly, her chats with Jon Snow, but like I love how she thinks she's doing like the noble thing and giving them a choice.
Yeah,
but she's not giving them a choice.
She's not.
she's like, you either bend the knee and follow me, or I'm gonna nuke you. Like,
Right.
what choice? That is not a choice.
Yeah, and even
and
Tyrion
then
is picking up on it. Like, maybe we should put him in a cage for a couple days. You know, it kind of helps them make their decisions. She's like, no,
he's getting
it's
nuked.
crazy. Yeah,
and like, you know, and at this point she has her suspicions of like, you know, you're just trying to like, are you just trying to help your family? Like, clearly you don't want to kill your family. Like, my bad, that's getting in the way of our plans. So like she's suspicious of that. But to his credit, he is very like his father. And this is what he gets from Tywin, is like the importance of like tradition, histories, and like how things work, right?
Right.
Yeah, because
From like a
she's
political
about
level.
to destroy a whole house.
A whole
Yeah.
house. And like that's just a big no to like Tyrion. He's just like, yeah, whatever you do, let's not just like nuke houses.
right. Bad
just not fun.
decision. Yeah, bad decision.
But
Yeah,
you get really cool songs out of it, like Reigns of Cashmere. If you
Yeah.
so, I don't know. It's toss up.
I mean, it's the logical thing to think, because Danny, and they say it earlier on throughout the season. I think maybe it might even be Tyrion again, where he says like, we're not going to use the Dothraki and the Unsullied because those are like foreign savages taking over, and we're going to give people the impression that this is a foreign invader coming to destroy everything. So we're going to send them to wherever, Castle Leo Rock or whatever. So he's cognizant that he needs to get people on their side from Westeros specifically. So for her to just like totally just kill everybody in her path is, it's not going to pan out well, for sure.
Yeah. And once again, we get more burning bodies when both the Tullys, Randall and Dickon, they just die. And it was pretty I did like the character dynamic in that Randall was like okay with his son like bending the knee if it meant he lived.
Yeah.
But old Dickon was just big dick in his head, like just like no, I'm gonna die with you, Dad. And his dad's just like
face palm.
Maybe
like, Sam wasn't as bad after all.
Right? Yeah. Absolutely.
This is true. The house did not die, Tyrion. So calm down.
Well, technically, if he's a maester, he can't hold any titles.
And at this point, like we're wheels breaking, like we can rewrite some rules. Like,
rewrites. Yeah, that's true.
And he's got a kid.
He leaves.
That's also true.
He's like stealing from the maesters.
John left. John was like, I died. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm reclaiming everything.
John respawned with no debuffs.
Yeah.
0 D. You lose. Yeah. Man of the Watch.
I'm just gonna keep on with the gaming analogies.
They're working. It's working great.
The non-expiring like watcher on the wall debuff just like, goes away. Oh, that's good. That's pretty good. And then also in this season, this episode is where we get kind of Sam getting fed up with like the nonsense, because we have this really cool scene where you get all these very archmaesters just like talking about, I guess, what archmaesters would talk about is a bunch of like dumb nerdy stuff. They think they know a lot about, and then Sam's just like,
sounds familiar.
Yeah,
kind of like what we do.
Yep.
We're maesters. White Walkers. We're gonna need to think on that a little bit. And I like this. It was cool, and I think it's pretty prevalent to like how political times are now. But how the Archmaester was like, "Yes, Sam, that very well could be the case," or comes up with this like really like sexy headline version of what's going on. Of like, they just want us to think that, so you know, all this other stuff can happen. And
it's the deep state, Sam. It's the deep state, bro.
He's like, no, it's like the deep north. Like, we're all gonna die. And he's over here. The Maesters are the deep state, though. They're the ones that get the right when like winter starts. Like, I think Winterfell knows when winter starts. Like, it's here, guys.
Right.
Sansa and Arya are dredging around in like 4-foot deep sno, and then they get a letter from the Maesters like, "Hey, it's started, guys."
Thanks
for the heads up.
Months ago it started.
So it was this episode where he kind of like loses it with them. Gilly reads that little bit, and they book it. They're like, we're getting the heck out of Dodge.
Literally, they book it with some books.
Yep.
Yeah, he stole a bunch of books. He was really comfortable. It was like every episode he like went back into
He's
the
very
restricted area.
Yeah, he's very comfortable stealing for sure.
Because dude sleeping in like the common hall of like all the other maesters, just leaves his keys chilling on there. Like,
Yeah,
no one
yeah.
knows.
Yeah,
He's
right.
like, gonna come get your chamber pot, sir,
Yeah.
and the keys. So yeah, not so much a restricted section as they would want you to believe. And then there's books with chains on them, but not all of them have chains. But he might have the key to unlock them.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I love the whole design of the Citadel. Like it lived up to the talk all the previous seasons leading up to it. I still want to know what the hell the things in the ceiling are. Like I know I probably could just Google it. They're probably an actual thing, like the thing shining the lights. I know that. I think like in Uncharted 2, you have to move those things in like a puzzle. I don't know what the hell they are.
It's kind of like an astrology thing.
That's what I figured. Yeah.
The way I like to think about it for this show is that is what the opening credit, like the opening theme song, like that's what we're looking at. We're riding that thing.
Yeah, for sure.
As we look at the world from the inside out.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's a cool payoff to get that in such a late season. We finally see what is scrolling around in the opening credits from the very beginning, which is cool.
And we always get him just like especially the moonlight shot where he's like leaving and he just like gives one more like gaze at like
the awesomeness of it. Yeah.
He's just like, I'm out of here.
Yep.
Packing up the wife and kid and I'm out of here. And he has a great little note where, he's tired of reading about famous great men.
It's exactly what his dad said to him at the dinner table. You're going to go spend your time reading about the achievements of better men, and he repeats the same line. I'm sick of reading about the achievements of better men, which is cool.
You go get it, Sam. I'm
team
Sam.
Old Sam.
Silly.
That's
what
silly.
Sam and Gilly.
Yeah,
team
silly.
Yeah, so then in King's Landing, this is actually the episode where Davos sneaks in Tyrion because Tyrion needs to meet with his brother. And old Bronn kind of brokered the deal. And this is a cool like jump forward to when Bronn was like when they're walking to the dragon pit and basically Tyrion's calling Bronn like living dangerously, like not looking out for himself because like he brokered the deal, like making enemy with the queen. He's like, I don't know about you, like I'm basically bringing the queen like every single person like she ever wanted to murder all in one place. He's like, that sounds like that's looking out for me. It's just that moment where Tyrion's like, are we all gonna die? Like,
exactly.
Did Bronn just sell us all out?
I love the walk to the pit is very similar to the walk in the north. Just with another half of characters, and all the little interactions along the way. You have the reuniting of Pod and Tyrion and Bronn, and comments of earlier season magicalness had me chuckling. But like Jaime and Brienne, their interactions were really cool.
The Hound and Brienne.
Yes. It's just it was. I loved all of these scenes of all these characters finally either coming back together or like finally meeting for the first time. But it's every single big player that we've been following is finally in the same place.
Did you think that shit was going to go south in that episode? Like, do you think people were going to get murdered in that meeting by Cersei?
Was it when she left and like all the guards were, or no, it was before she arrived and like all the guards are
like they
sitting
were
like lining the wall and they're like, oh great, we're just literally in like an enclosed space with all of her guards.
And it's when Dany's not even there yet. I don't know.
For a second there, I thought something bad was going to happen.
Yeah, I don't remember getting really that vibe, even though it seems like this is Game of Thrones and any area that Cersei's around her enemies, they're just all going to die. Yeah. But I don't know. That was
actually the season or series finale.
Yeah. Right.
Cersei just nukes them all with wildfire.
Yeah, exactly.
It just
That one.
I don't want to say it seems out of character for her to not murder somebody there, but we just last season we blew up all our enemies. We have the opportunity really to fucking do it again if she wanted to. Everybody
single one.
is there
except Danny.
Except for Danny, right?
Yeah.
Which is arguably the most important one you want to nuke for sure.
I will say, when they brought the walker in, I did think that it had ceased to be a White Walker, and I was like, oh great. So like this is literally going to be for nothing, and then something bad's going to happen. But
and I mean, speaking of like all that for nothing, like Danny, like good acting, like was pissed at John that kind of made it for nothing, because she's like, I'm not gonna bend the knee. I already bend the knee. Or like,
I love Tyrion's reaction. Like I appreciate that.
I would have advised it.
Yeah, I would have advised
you asked.
it. But have you ever thought about lying a little bit? And that's the to the fault thing. Like, it's just not him, man. He's Ned
gotta
to a
break
fault.
the wheel, man.
And
I love what he said. I forget exactly what he said, but basically it's like, if you're if you lie a little bit,
in the
like,
North,
eventually nothing
words
will ever
meaning.
be truthful.
Yeah.
And like, words lose their power, blah blah blah, something like that. But it's really good.
Sure.
Very
we don't have
very
our
good noble quotes from old Jon Snow.
He's got great ones this season for sure.
He got all the right intention.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Now the only like weird thing in that like whole scene was when him and Danny were just like high school, like hanging out in the side hallway.
Yeah.
And then, like they like Cersei and Tyrion, they all come back and they just kind of both come walking out of the corner. It's like, what were you guys doing behind the bleachers?
Don't worry about it.
Getting cute over there. I thought that was funny. They're just gonna have a little sidebar conversation. Everyone in the middle is just like, dude, they're totally gonna do it.
I can't wait to see the dragon pit in all its glory in House of the Dragon, because we see it in the trailer. It looks obnoxiously small in here to hold fucking multiple dragons, but I don't know. It's a ruin, so who knows, what collapsed where, but it does look awfully small to hold.
It's melted down.
Yeah, maybe that's the case. We'll see.
They were much smaller when they put them locked up in there.
Later on, yes, but not in the house. These dragons are supposedly bigger than Danny's dragons.
But they had them locked up in there at that time?
Yeah, I don't know if the dragon pit is in existence. I don't know if they're locking them up yet. This is like 300 years before, so I don't know where we're at in the
I forget who exactly was speaking about that, but yeah, they're basically like, they locked up like huge dragons, but then eventually
it was Danny. Yeah,
because they were locked in there, they like stopped eating, right, and then they became like these, puny.
And it's cool that as she's giving that speech, he's holding a dragon jaw. Jon Snow picked up a little tiny dragon jaw. Yeah. Yep.
Let's see here. Oh yeah,
that whole thing. By the way, let me just say, makes me hate Cersei even more, because like, I get it, like you want to be, you are the queen, but like exactly like Jamie said, like if you don't deal with this world like life-threatening threat, like who are you gonna rule?
Yeah,
like,
it doesn't matter.
You're not gonna rule anyone, because we're all gonna be dead.
And it's one of the few times that we see Jamie legitimately get pissed. He like yells at her. Like if the White Walkers win, they come south and kill us all. If they win, they come south and kill us all. Like he gets pissed. I love that, because you don't see that heightened emotion much from him,
Yeah, but it's like Cersei's so blinded by her lust for power that she's like, oh, who cares? They're gonna kill the Northerners.
Right. Yeah.
Like, okay, but what do you think happens next? Like,
right.
Who on a second watch, who convinced me of that entire plot? I legitimately thought Euron just left. I thought he was like, I was completely fooled by that, having seen this already.
Honestly, so was I. I was like,
it makes sense. Like he's like, yep, they're coming. I'm going back to my island. Danny, you should go back to your island, and then we'll.
I mean,
the only two left.
Fits his character.
Yeah,
right?
For
so
sure.
I was like, oh yeah,
fooled me.
Makes sense.
Fooled me, but Cersei
fooled us.
Good play. Good play.
Very
good
play.
Like she's crazy, but she's got good ideas sometimes. But it was very convenient that he had a really good reason to do that because they pre-planned that. And he just had like the perfect opportunity to be like, well, that scares me later, guys. Like, what
Right.
if they did not bring a White Walker or a white to that meeting? How was that plan going to unfold for him? Like, he was just going to be like,
Plot armor.
dragons are scary. I'm out of here.
Yeah, it was
Like,
the dragons. That's it.
It
Yeah.
must have been the dragon.
Yeah.
I did hear dragons can't fly over water though, so he should be safe.
Yes, I've heard
That's
that
true.
also.
That wouldn't have worked either. They fly over water. Well, yes, they do.
They fly into water. I don't know if that counts as flying into the water, but
Yeah, they crash into the water for sure.
yeah.
Rip.
Yeah, where are we going? Let's go north of the wall. Yeah.
Yeah,
Missing
'cause-
anything leading up to it?
Not really. The only thing I was going to point out was the Leroy Jenkins of Gendry when he first meets John. He's like, "Hi, I'm my dad. I'm Robert Baratheon's bastard son."
Everything Davos is like, hey, don't bring it up.
Right.
And he's like,
First line is revealing his identity.
great, classic.
That was good. But then also
Troping it up. Just
at the end of
troping
this
it up,
episode,
guys.
we get all the boys at Eastwatch by the sea, where the fire boys, they're locked up in the prison cell because the wildlings found them lurking about, so they tossed them in there, and then we just get some good exchange. The very early versions of this before their walk, but like, who was it? Oh, it was Jorah like looks through and he's talking to like the priest, and he's like, "Is that you?" And it's just, there's this history there, and there's a lot of that like we're not like completely aware of, because that builds up to when Jorah and him were talking about, like, he was like, "How drunk were you?"
That was so great.
So
He's like,
good.
I thought when I saw you, I thought you were the bravest man I ever saw. He's like, nope, just the drunkest.
Yeah, love it. I love him, man. I love Thor so much.
Heard a lot about that the next morning. Flaming sword and all.
Yeah, we hear the Siege of Pike a lot. I hope that we see it at some point, whether it be in an animated series or something, because it sounds awesome.
Because that's when like basically like Ned and his boys brought down the rebellion of or at least the unyielding.
And it's cool because there's a lot of people that are now kind of warring with each other that were on the same side in that fight. Like Jaime was there. All kinds of people were fighting for the same side. So it's really cool. And it would be an opportunity if they did, which I'm sure they're not going to, but it would be an opportunity to do a spinoff with Euron, because he's the one that started that entire thing that we get the reveal in this season, that he's the one that started it all. So always could use more Euron in my life.
More Euron. Before he was
I want to know what his axe is named, because like all the swords have epic names.
You know what? I'll look it up while you guys talk, because I think it did have a name, because I almost bought the actual replica of it. Might have just been Euron's axe, but we'll see.
Dude, you should get it and then let me borrow Jon Snow's sword, and then we can fight.
Yeah.
Well, that's the axe.
That's foam, so I would literally cut it in half with the real axe. This one's like a legit axe.
It's probably like
just out in your backyard chopping firewood with Euron's axe.
It did make me, because I wanted a foam one, and I bought a replica foam God of War axe, which is very, very similar from the new God of War game. Not quite as cool. But
so basically what this is boiling down to is we're going to start a Showboys LARP spin-off of the Showboys podcast.
I am in.
Horrible.
Just, take a trip out here in Northeast Ohio every couple months. We'll have a big old LARP session.
While he looks that up, basically in episode 6 here is where it all just gets like super spicy. But this is where I'm also like, we're really only watching like 2 stories. Like, it's so narrow at this point, because really it's like a little bit of Winterfell stuff, a little bit of like Dragonstone King's Landing, like castle stuff. But episode 6 here is like completely beyond the wall. We get like tons of the walking, which we've talked a lot about, and it's just great dialogue. Mike's favorite part, the zombie bear
Oh yeah,
just coming out of the spooky blizzard.
so good. It does not have a name, but his flagship is named Silence, which is really badass. And it kind of answers our question.
Up.
Yeah. It answers our question from earlier.
Yeah.
That big old boat moving in silence.
Yep. Yeah, zombie bear, bro.
I think it's terrifying.
I don't want to say it again. I love wintry blizzard horror sequences. So cool. I love
the
their
bear has blue eyes.
It's got blue eyes. I love their little the panning shot over top of them huddled in the circle.
The circle is pretty sweet.
Bummer that Thoros gets attacked by it. His scream is blood curdling every time.
Also, the Hound just being a little sissy.
Yeah. Well,
There's
dude,
a burning zombie bear, dude.
Burning zombie bear, bro. Yeah, I'm out.
Come on, you're the Hound.
Passing out. He's terrified of fire, and the thing that's on fire is a fucking White Walker
he's never
bear,
seen,
bro.
That he's never
that
seen
he's
them
never
before.
Seen. Yeah.
He's the Hound. Come on, you just gotta say a few curse words and then pick up his sword or something.
He's getting shaky in his old age here.
He is.
He's turning good. He's unsure of himself. He's scared of fire. Like he just saw a zombie bear.
Right. Startling.
Come on.
Yeah, and then he goes and screws over the whole crew. Let's say,
dude,
playing with rocks.
It's hilarious, man. I'm sorry. I do want to. Did you guys feel like this plan was like a fucking awful idea from the get-go?
Oh, it's terrible.
Okay. Okay.
How are you gonna get one? Okay, first
you're gonna get one of them. Yeah.
Another terrible writing. Well, I should say my first complaint of bad writing. Conveniently, they kill like the
main one,
the White Walker guy, right? Those are the White Walkers.
Yes.
Right? Okay, so they kill the White Walker. All of his little zombie comrades die, except one. Holy cow!
Except one.
That's amazing.
Perfect. Right.
He wasn't with his turner, so basically they're like, oh, he must have turned all of them, but he was not with his turner. He was with a different one.
Right.
He got lost in the wrong class apparently.
But although
you're just gonna run into a little squad of 7 amongst their army of 100,000.
The way I took that, if I had to explain it, is they were scouting ahead. They took a little group to scout ahead before the horde came through. So
Mike's point, you kill the White Walker and all 8 except the one that they need, all just blow up.
Little convenient for sure. And although I think writing wise, the plan is maybe not making much sense in my head that they were thinking they were going to go do this. I love the way that everything panned out. This episode's great, dude.
Honestly, the plan makes sense, right? Because they're they know their backs against the wall, time's running out, and they have to make this Hail Mary.
Yeah.
Once they got one shot. There's only one way they can maybe convince Cersei, so they just gotta do this super dumb
and you
thing.
Got the Avengers.
Yeah. Right. Also true.
What could go wrong?
They got the squad
with the flaming swords, man. Seems like a good thing to fight ice zombies with,
Does.
That's true.
Super effective.
Just one Valyrian. Well, they have. Well, that's what took me a bit. I was like, why is the Hound got daggers? He has dragon glass daggers, which I thought was cool because we're used to the Hound with just giant 2-hand sword, and here he is. He's just stabbing whites in the face.
I think Jorah has the same thing too. He's got those dragon glass daggers. But I love anytime I see the freaking blizzard coming and it's got thunder behind it too. It's just a cool image. It was a cool image in Hardhome. It's really cool here. Jon Snow's panic on his face when he sees it and turns around and looks at him. He knows what's coming. I thought that was really, really cool. And then the whole lake scene, I know a lot of people hate this sequence primarily because of the timing of everything going on. But I love it. The panning shot at night with all the blue eyes in the background is so haunting. I could watch that over and over.
Well, and again, that whole thing, running onto the lake, onto the rock, and then the ice conveniently breaking. I mean, again, it makes sense.
Convenient rock in the middle of the
lake. You have a party of 8 running it cracked.
Started
Right.
cracked. Yeah.
Come on.
Yep.
And then you have like a horde of like 30,000.
Right.
Like, it's obviously gonna break. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah,
But I do like
just,
their like hive mind thing they got going on too, because I think maybe the Hound like kicks the zombie that they captured and they all scream when they pan there. I thought that was really cool. I did not pick up on that the first 6 times I watched the show. I don't know why. I don't know what happened.
Some things take the 7th time.
It does. It does, man. It does.
well, they always say
Yep.
seventh time's a charm.
Yeah.
But I mean, they did take some effort to like show that time was passing. So all night, like someone said they're gonna freeze to death. The ice froze back over. I did not get why nobody realized the ice froze back over. I guess it's like very dark ice, like it kind of like black ice, and it just might look like water, but the rock just like landing there and the little one just staring down at it.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, they tried to like.
Yeah, I agree with that. We don't like we were talking. We don't know how north of the wall they're even at.
Right.
They said that the last time they saw the White Walkers were at Hardhome, and the closest castle is Eastwatch to the sea. But I don't know how far Hardhome is.
What's that? The mountain's name? That looks like an arrowhead or whatever. Fist of the
First Men.
So like that's like where they are, right?
No,
they see it.
No.
Are they much further past it, or like are they not quite there yet?
The problem is that you're probably not even going to pick up much of north of the wall on any map. So Eastwatch by the Sea is going to be over
right here,
right there. And you have to assume that Hardhome is up past Haunted where we can
Forest. See. Hardhome would be like up here.
There. Yeah, so
they're not as far as Hardhome. I would like to say they're like here. Maybe that it's not that far.
No,
it's far.
It's not.
It's not that far. So like we know this is 50 miles right here. The gift, because it's 50 miles north of the wall. So the Haunted Forest is like 50 miles north of the wall. Crasher's Keep. I was gonna say they're like right in here. Now is that Arrowhead somewhere? Is that Arrowhead Mountain the Fist of the First Men? Or
I don't think it. I think it's just it was a marker. The Fist of the First Men we saw when they first went north of the wall to look for Benjen, and they all like camped up on that like plateau or whatever. That was the Fist of the First Men. So the Arrowhead was just the marker that the Hounds saw in the fire, telling him that he was going to see that or whatever was going on there.
I also love that scene where it's like staring to the fire. He's like, "Oh, shut up!" And then he's like, "No, really staring to the fire." And he's like, "Oh my God, there's a mountain and a bunch of like."
Yeah,
I almost wanted them to just be like, "Oh yeah, okay," or like the Hounds being like messing with them.
Right? Yeah, that would have been funny.
But
so yeah, the timing thing, like the only thing that I have a problem with, I have zero problem with Gendry running. It shows that he is running for an excessive amount of time. He gets there at nighttime. The only thing that I have a little bit of problem with is the Raven being sent from the wall down to Dragonstone. I didn't realize how far down Dragonstone is. Like
it's far.
It's past halfway.
I basically forget the area exists all the time. And I feel like I think Dragonstone's like in here. I think it's in here, right?
I thought it was way north, because didn't we figure out that? Remember when you made the joke that Stannis came from the left of the screen? Wasn't he at Dragonstone and he had to sail up that way? I thought he was way closer than.
No, I think what we're saying is how close he was to King's Landing. Like
King's Landing.
Like Dragonstone, King's Landing is like basically in the same bay.
Yeah. So that's a far way for a raven to be flying. I don't know how fast ravens fly per se. But that's quite a hike.
And this is assuming ravens fly over water, like for a straight shot, and not like along the King's Road.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So that's the only hang up I have. But at the end of the day, this episode's so badass, I couldn't care less about all this timing messed ups that they made here. I get they're trying to funnel a story here. Yeah,
if they would have had 3 more episodes, like maybe it would have been different. But, we spent more time mining dragon glass than they spent like doing this whole adventure traveling.
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe they should have like retooled like how much time we spent in the first.
They should have.
episodes.
Yeah. That's how they should have done it. They should have left and done this adventure in episode 3, got trapped there. And then
but
a blizzard comes in later or warm weather comes in and unfreezes or something. You know what I mean?
But they had a quota for John Danny like heart melt scenes.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Yeah. But I do love, like I said, I love every scene with the White Walkers. They're my absolute favorite. I'm Team Night King all the way. I've explained that multiple times now. Fuck the living. They need to go. This world is really messed up. Let's be honest. And we don't know at this point. Like maybe the Night King's got the right idea here. We don't know what he's standing for. Maybe he's seeing it for how it is. Like Cersei's a piece of shit, and everybody's following her, and they're all pieces of shit. So let's just end it all and start over. So I'm Team Night. Team Night King all the way.
Yeah. It was awesome seeing Dany arrive and just nuking everyone, and then it was
with 3 dragons.
Yeah, it was even more awesome that none of our heroes got touched by flames amongst the nuking. But then even more so, the amazing aim of the Night King to just be able to javelin toss that ice spear miles and miles through the air and nail a flying dragon.
Hit it in like the fire gland.
Oh, dude, so good.
Bursting blood and fire out of the side as it crashed.
That's one of the coolest touches of that is the fire spilling out of the side. I just love that scene because it just shows how like they have one focus. Like he's just walking slow. The other White Walker hands him the javelin. He just grabs it. And I also love that he aims with his hand too, which is so funny. It probably made a little bit more sense to maybe hit the dragon that was landed. I don't know why he went for maybe just for.
That's right. He aims right over it. He was just like, I want
right over top
one.
of it. Yeah, for whatever reason.
It's more dramatic.
I think there were. I don't know if they've ever discussed it. It might have been in the history of lores that he might have the same thing that Bran has going on, where he has the visions and he can see the future and the past and stuff. So I don't know if he knew this was coming. You have to assume, because when we get to the end of the season, if they don't have that dragon and they get to the wall, what the hell was their play here? Like what were they going to do? Just hang out?
Just a traditional
climb on each other until they get over.
Or just climb over the wall.
Just climb over the wall. Yeah, you got to think. I love the
pull
imagery.
Down those giant chains they magically had.
Yeah, that's my biggest hang up from this episode.
The 4-foot cold rolled steel chains. All 4.
Not only they came out of freaking nowhere with the chains. How the hell did they get it on the dragon down in the water? Because they can't swim. They've said that multiple times through the show.
It's like a fishing hook. Just toss it in and pull it out.
Just randomly able to wrap it perfectly around its head to be able to
right. And then I watched. I don't know if you know Neil deGrasse Tyson, the astrophysicist. He was breaking down scenes from Game of Thrones from like a science perspective, and he said that the wingspan of the dragons is spot on. That's the wingspan they would need to fly. But he pulls out the chain thing because when they're pulling it, it's like over the hills. Like it would need to be tight to pull it up the
right
to get the strength of everybody. It would need to be completely tight, not up over the hills. And
where was the tension that was actually
there's no tension.
Syrian?
There's no tension. Yeah, it's the last 2 guys pulling it.
Tension was totally in the audience, being like, "Oh my god, this is about to be a white dragon."
Yep, yeah, that is.
That's where all the tension was.
No one's paying attention. They're looking at the dragon getting dragged out of the water.
Yeah, but also pretty strong on a singular fire gland. Gotta say, because the one got destroyed, but it's still able to nuke the magical ice wall.
True. Yeah. I love that scene. First off, he seems like he's flying like 4 or 5 times faster than any of the other dragons when he comes flying into the screen. I love the night.
You're faster when you're dead, unless you're
faster when you're dead. Yeah, that's it.
It's all the holes in the wing. Just
really that was the other thing
with the aerodynamics.
Yeah.
Less drag. You just
Literally
sliced
less
beer.
drag.
Yeah,
Yeah.
less drag. Good. But yeah, that was gotta have a nice dragon, I guess.
Oh yeah, dude. For my money, I know I love Spoils of War episode 4. I think it's great. This Beyond the Wall episode's maybe my favorite of the show, to be honest with you. There's just so many good like action sequences, but there's also like when Jon Snow and the Night King have their little stare off. Yeah. And then the White Walker behind it just grabs another spear. Like, look, fuck it, let's get another one if they're gonna stay here. Like, what? And I also really like that. I'm pretty sure that White Walker has a samurai top knot. I'm pretty positive. It's hard to see, but the like folded over and then ponytail thing that the samurai wear. I'm pretty sure he has it, which is really cool touch for my money at least.
Can I say completely random? Well, I guess not completely because it has to deal with the top knot, but. I think it was in Vinland Saga where they referenced top knots like a few times. And I'm like, oh, that's great.
Yeah,
I love it when anyone references a top knot.
Yeah,
they're back. Yeah, but I do have issue with this episode in that I was like, okay, I know he doesn't die, but Jon really looks dead here.
Oh yeah.
But even before that, why was he just like relentlessly killing whites when he could have just got on the dragon? Could have left and it would have been fine. Jon, like, calm down, like just leave.
He's got to be the hero, bro.
I guess he's got to impress Danny, but I mean, getting
that's what it was. For
gonna be worthless.
Yeah.
I mean.
Well, he has to make room in her heart for him by losing one of the dragons. So it's like too crowded in here.
Yeah.
But he falls into the frozen lake, climbs out by himself, grabs his sword. I was like, okay, yeah, the whites are gonna leave, and he's just gonna get rescued. No, the whites are still there.
Yeah,
and they all see him.
Yeah,
and then Uncle Ben, is it
Benjamin?
Rolls up with his flaming lantern chain thing, which is awesome.
I love that. I absolutely love that weapon. But this right here. This is my problem, even though I said it was the Raven. This is my biggest hang up is the line where he's like, come with me. And he's like, there's no time. And smacks, like, there's plenty of time for you to just get on the fucking horse and go. Like, what do you mean?
People, though.
Huh?
The horse is slower with 2 people, though.
I mean, that might be the case, but that might be what he was talking about. But it sure seemed like...
He's a little dead, though, too, so he should be lighter.
Yeah, exactly. Remember the whole conversation we just had with the dragons?
Yeah.
Yeah. But Jon's
but he can't cross the wall either. He can't cross the wall either. So that's another, like, there's no point in going back with him. He's not going to be able to cross the wall.
He's probably done being like a wandering.
He's
dead.
Yeah.
They talk about this in the post-credit clip with the directors. Like, this is Benjen's moment where he's like wondering why he's like been spared and is still alive, right? And he sees this as his moment of like, this is why I'm here. And I forget who else it was that was having that same conversation in this episode or the episode before. I think it has to do with like the Brotherhood dudes or something.
Yeah.
Where they're like, oh yeah, it's the guy that keeps being brought back to life, and he's like talking to Jon Snow about like, there's a reason why we're still here, or whatever. And they were saying that was like Benjen's like, okay, this is the reason why I'm still here. So
that makes sense.
Here's my sacrifice. I can finally not be like half dead anymore.
Right.
To like fulfill my purpose. They also like called him Cold Hands or something like in that segment. Has that ever
him Cold Hands?
Yes, cold something.
Oh, really?
And I was like, has that ever been said in the show, or is that just like what they use on set or something? They're just like,
hey, it's probably from the book. Yeah, Cold Hands.
I've been waiting for. He's just hanging out on set for seasons and showing up, and he's like, "Oh, it's my turn finally.
Yeah,
I'm getting paid."
But also, like, where the F did he come from?
Out of nowhere.
He just was there. He was just on a stroll, and he was like, "Hey, look, it's Jon."
Oh, it is Cold Hands. That's hilarious. Well,
is that his name in the book or something? Or what they call him?
Alias.
It's Cold Hands is a mysterious figure beyond the wall, and it looks just like him, except he's riding a reindeer and holding like an ice fire weapon and not
Riding
a red.
Man, he should have totally been riding a reindeer.
Yeah, dude, it looks cool. It's a cool image for
He just
sure.
comes.
I don't know if
They got the fuzzy antlers, and he's just like hitting walkers out of the way.
Swinging the torch.
They just replaced the torch with like jingle bells. Winter's here.
Yeah, it doesn't say anywhere in here. I don't know if they combined characters with Benjen coming back
Sounds like
as
they
Cold
did.
Hands, because it doesn't say anything, and there's not really a lot to read. So it doesn't say anything about him being Benjen, but it does say he guided Bran, and so yeah, it's the same story. It's just they combined characters, which is cool. Cold Hands. Huh.
It might also
Look at me.
Yeah,
Teaching
you got
you guys
yeah,
something.
you taught us.
Just 'cause
Appreciate
I
it.
Watch the extra credit.
And Mike thought Tommen was dead, or Tormund. Thought he was done for. Thought he was toasted.
I was live
No one
Discord
died.
chatting Nick. I'm like, no, Tormund.
Yeah,
After
it's
I was
rough.
just talking
'cause
about
he's
how
like,
much I love Tormund.
yeah, he's like screaming for help, and that he's like, help me. It's rough to watch, man.
Well,
'cause
like
I
the
thought he was
Hound
dead
is
too.
sitting there again, just being a little sissy,
Yeah,
but then he finally saves him.
right.
Not again. Yeah, they had some wildling randoms to die on that adventure, but no main characters.
Yeah,
died on that.
you noticed that they had to throw in some cannon fodder
Yeah.
that we'd never seen before to die during
Like,
this.
where'd they
Big,
come from?
Yeah.
big shout out to the dude who became the bonfire. Appreciate you, bro. Wasn't for you, probably be a bunch of ice cubes on that rock.
Yeah,
Well,
One
that's
dude
when it,
dies, and the guy's like, well, "Gotta light him on fire."
yep. Thoros. Yeah, it's Thoros.
that's when it was. John and Jorah stepped away from the fire, and Jorah's like, "We're gonna freeze out here." I'm like, "Dude, there's a
There's a burning fire right next to
fire
you.
right behind you.
Just go. Just go down to it.
Like, chill out. You got guys with flaming swords. I think you guys can make it."
Yeah. He's a southern dude. He's been in
Yeah,
Essos for a long time. It's freezing to him, probably. You know what I mean? If you take like somebody that grew up in Florida and put him here in the winter, it's like a miserable experience for him. So
Hey,
just
can
take
confirm.
Yeah.
that is true.
Yes.
They touched on that too in the dialogue on their walk. It was who had never seen snow? Was it Gendry? Gendry never seen snow.
Gendry. Yep.
And then like Tormund's just like tearing into him, but then like they flip it, and John's just like, he's like, "I've been south. I've been to Winterfell," and John's like, "Winterfell's north, you idiot."
Yeah. Yeah.
Like south would be King's Landing.
Yeah.
Everyone's perspective is just so skewed.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Tormund's like, "I've been south to Winterfell."
Yeah. Still probably a big climate change for Tormund, though.
Oh yeah, probably.
It's like, "Oh, it's hot down here. I gotta take off a couple coats."
But yeah, so even though I watched episode 7 last night, and we've kind of glossed over a few parts here and there, everything outside of the final ending is kind of like hazy now that
I honestly,
been
I think
dicing through the
we've
season.
touched on pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Everything here. It's the Littlefinger death scene, the interaction between Tyrion and Cersei, the meeting.
Oh yeah,
Jane,
yeah.
I do need to bring up the dick comments at the beginning of the episode with Jamie and Braun, where he's like, maybe it really is all cocks in the end or whatever. I think that's that whole interaction is hilarious.
Yeah, I love Braun with the Lannisters. Both his Tyrion and Jamie interactions are just priceless.
He's just a great Lannister sidekick.
He is. Okay,
He
well, if we've
grounds
done
them.
all that, let's.
And then the other thing was the Jon Snow reveal.
Oh,
I
yeah,
also
yeah.
really love the quote, "Robert's rebellion was built on a lie," because it was. He didn't kidnap her. He didn't, do other terrible things to her. He loved
That's
her.
true.
I thought I love that whole sequence. Not who I would have picked for Rhaegar from the image in the book. Looks nothing like actual Rhaegar.
It looks
from the
just like
books.
Danny's
her
brother.
brother.
It looks just like
Did
him.
they just use the
I
same
think they
guy?
just used
They
him.
recycle him.
Yeah, he just
Yeah.
he gained a little weight and they recycled him. Yeah,
All
it could be.
Targaryens, they look the same.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I
so
will
in
say,
a perfect
can I
world, go
say
ahead.
one thing about the whole reveal here that I think is very important? You have the interaction with Theon and Jon in the like throne room in Dragonstone, where Theon's doing a really bad job of apologizing for all of his atrocities. But Jon, of course, being the noble, like purely good character aligned person he is, he's like, don't worry, like you're both a Greyjoy and a Snow, and like
dark.
A little foreshadowing of the reveal here, how important that will be for Jon to remember when he finds out that he's a Targaryen, that he's also a Stark or Snow, or I misspoke earlier about Snow.
Everybody's
he's
a
Stark and a Greyjoy. But I just thought that whole interaction after the reveal comes, I'm like, oh, Jon better remember what he told Theon.
Yeah, that's a good point for sure.
Yeah. Anyways, I just want to point that out. I'm sure that's clear as day for everyone who's seen this show, but
yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, speaking of old Theon, biggest thing for him in this season is, he improves so well, and then his sister gets taken by Euron.
Dude.
He's just like, out of here.
Yeah. Like, dude, how embarrassing. He just drops his weapon and jumps off.
He's just a sad boy.
Well, like, I love his fight with the like now makeshift captain of the Iron
ship.
Fleet or whatever. Where like I'm like, oh, Theon's got this fight in the bag, because he could literally just take a beating forever. Like all of his training with Ramsay.
Right.
Yeah.
I do really
a couple blows to the crotch, and he's just like, nah,
say,
bro, I'm
that.
about to go like Super Saiyan and just knock you out.
Yeah, I like that they really focus in on the nut shots for sure. It's not working.
I mean, don't you think that would still like really freaking hurt getting
It's the groin area, like in general,
it's scar tissue too. Like, come on, that's gotta.
It's harder.
Hurt. Yeah, I don't think it would hurt.
I feel like, man, I feel
it
like
wouldn't hurt any more than anywhere else. Getting hit anywhere else, like it wouldn't have.
So does that mean he took like all the parts?
Yes. Yeah.
Or just the one part?
All of it.
Yeah, he took the stones and the stem, if you will.
Okay. Root and all, I guess.
Root and all, yeah.
So, but that's one of like the many endings where I was like, wait, I forgot all about this. So like his intention here is to go get his sister still.
Yeah.
So for the past like 4 seasons, it's been a very sad attempt at them trying to save each other from being captured.
Yes. Exactly.
Yep. Except she succeeded, and he was just like, once again, no.
Yeah.
Just save me.
Yep.
Theon is probably the most pathetic character.
He is. And it, unfortunately, this season, it seemed like he was turning a corner, but then the boat jump thing was like, he's spot on.
His credit. Yep. His uncle is scary.
Very scary. If that dude is holding a freaking squid axe up to my sister, like with burning ships and black sails and everything around me, I'm out
burning.
Too. Sorry,
everything's burning.
Everything's on fire,
screaming and dead.
And another important part there is he's looking around at all the people getting tortured, like their teeth ripped out and their ears cut off and stuff. Like he doesn't want any part of that anymore. I think he's probably had enough of the cutting off of parts.
Yeah, been there, done that.
Yeah, we're good.
Bye.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's do the answer the boys.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we got one reply this week from Ugly Kid Joe Cross, and he says, season 7, fast traveling enabled, pretty thick plot armor, but not thick enough to drown not thick enough to drown in.
Yep.
To catch a zombie turns into, here, have a dragon. Most senseless trade ever, and I take great offense to this. And I watched a man trade 6 decent Pokemon for a Hitmonchan. That hurts too soon. Sorry, trying to rush this. Completely acceptable.
So meta as always.
It is.
Yep.
Big picture Joe over there.
Big picture Joe. Well, thank you, Joe, for submitting that.
Yeah.
That does encapsulate the season pretty well.
Yeah.
Your summaries are way better than ours. And
yeah, we could have just read that and
been done 2 hours ago.
Yeah,
later, guys.
Okay.
Or go ahead, Chad.
Now that we're here, final season, it's prediction time for Mike Boy.
6
Where are
episodes.
we going? 6 episodes. Where are we going? I want to know who lives, who dies, who's on the throne, and what happens with the walkers.
Okay. You ready?
Yep.
My big 3, the Trinity, are all still there.
At the end.
Tyrion. No,
Okay.
I'm saying right now.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Tyrion's still alive.
Mm-hmm.
Who's been one of my big horses.
Mhm.
Jon Snow.
Mm-hmm.
He tricked me.
He
Twice.
did trick you. He
3
did.
times. 4
Yeah.
times.
And then Dany, of course.
Okay.
So those are all still in play.
Okay, that's your Trinity. Has that always been your Trinity? You feel like?
Yeah.
Yeah. I said those. I forget
I think
what
Rob.
season it was.
I think Rob was in there at some point.
Yeah.
that
Well, okay. So it was
very
like
early
season
Right up into season 3.
3. I think after the devastation of Rob, I was like, okay, there are 3 characters that are driving the main story arcs. These 3 will not die because they're the main points of these 3 story arcs. So far, I mean, like I said, John totally tricked me, but
Faked you out.
I've been right so far, which is exciting, considering the start I had.
Right. Yeah. True.
You got to get used to the series. You're used to it now.
So John and Dany are going to be a thing. Going to be the greatest power couple of Westeros. So I think
You're saying king and queen.
Yeah,
Like-
they'll hook up. They'll become this power couple. John will learn of his identity, and it's really going to mess him up.
Okay.
Because he's too good of a guy to be banging his aunt.
Okay. Gotcha.
And then he's going to have a real identity crisis, being a Targaryen and not a Stark.
Okay.
I don't know what's going to happen with the White Walkers. I'm assuming that they will get that problem will be taken care of, not without major casualties. That problem will get taken care of. Then we'll focus on Cersei and Dany.
Where is it going to
Duking
get
it out.
taken care of?
I have no idea. Somewhere.
Because we got to remember that
Somewhere
early
south of the
Dany-
wall, because they've breached it.
We do need to bring up that early Dany visions, if you remember, saw the throne room ripped off, the roof ripped off, and the
That's
snow
true.
falling in it. So
True.
remember that.
Is it snow or is it ash from Dragonfire?
Who knows?
Or is it
we don't know.
both?
We don't
Well,
know.
technically it could be both because now it's winter.
That's true.
So yeah, I don't know where that's going to take place, but I think it will take place. I think Dany will come out on top, and
For
then
the throne?
something
Okay.
tragic is going to happen because it's Game of Thrones.
Okay.
What a guess. Something tragic's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think I want Tyrion to still live. I want my big 3 to remain throughout the series, but I have a feeling one, if not all of them, will die because it's Game of Thrones.
You want a
That's
spoiler?
about as specific as my not generalized predictions are gonna
Yeah.
get.
Yeah.
Here's a spoiler. John becomes the Night King.
Okay, cool. Thanks. I guess next week we'll be talking about Valheim, guys. Yeah. Which I meant to say when we were talking about the dragons, I have this real affinity for blue. If you couldn't tell, most of the nights my lights are blue.
Yeah.
In Valheim, my new favorite lighting is blue. So seeing the dragon spitting those blue flames,
Blue flames. So
I was
good.
like,
yeah.
dude, this is awesome.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I think is going to happen in the loosest way possible.
So
Okay.
Jamie and Cersei are just like in the cells, just chilling.
Yeah, you didn't really mention
Who's
what do you
dying?
think? Yeah, who's dying?
Who's dying?
You're just focused on who's living.
I think, well, because that's the hard part.
True. It is Game of Thrones. That's valid.
I think I want Cersei to die. Like, I hate Cersei.
That's not nice.
I want Jamie to live, but I feel like he won't. I feel like all of the cool side characters are going to get swooped away in either the fight with the White Walkers or the conflict between Dany and Cersei. But honestly, man, I don't know. It's too hard to say who's going to die and who's going to live because you don't know. I just don't know. I literally have no idea.
Okay, but something you really, since you still have the Blu-rays, I highly am going to recommend that you watch a specific episode on the Blu-ray.
It's the dark one, right?
Yes. It's
Yeah, but does the 4K versions fix that?
That I don't know.
Like 4K ought to fix it.
If it were my money, to be honest with you, I would have you watch this entire season on Blu-ray because there are, and I don't know if you've even looked at the episodes yet for season 8. I hope you haven't. There are a little snippets of spoilers here or there just in the screenshots for the episodes. So
I hate they do that.
You might as well
hate to see it.
You might as well just watch the Blu-rays because it does fix the dark issue for the most part. It's still dark. It's supposed to be dark. And then you can
that poor
stay away.
lighting director. He was so upset.
Yeah, he was salty as hell too about it. Like, dude, chill.
Here, I'm gonna.
It's as dark as it needs to be. No,
we didn't think about.
Don't
streaming.
Google. What are you Googling?
4K.
Don't Google anything.
No, let Chad Google.
Okay,
yeah,
you Google it, Nick. Google if the 4K fixes the darkness issue.
What was it? Episode 5,
3
of 6, 3. Wow, 3 of 6.
Couldn't even finish your question.
Wow, 3.
Just watched it like 30 times.
That episode probably has watched it 30 times.
Yeah.
There are articles that says how to fix your TV settings for a rewatch of last night's Game of Thrones.
That's dedication. I'm gonna edit the settings in my TV to watch this one episode.
Yeah.
You go the next episode's like in King's Landing and you just get blinded because it's
I think even really at the end of the day, even though it is 4K, it's still compressed where it's not compressed on the Blu-ray, right? So
that's fair.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Blu-ray's probably the best safest way to go.
I would at least with episode 3. And then outside of that, if you want to maybe get spoiled towards the end, you can hop onto HBO.
So there are 6 episodes.
6 episodes, yes, sir.
Okay, so it falls in line with the mid-season and finale being the big ones I need to watch on TV.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that, but episode 3, you're gonna certainly 150% want to watch on a TV. So
good to know.
I didn't tell you any this season because I didn't want to spoil some of the shit that was gonna I didn't want you to know Spoils of War was coming. So I apologize if you watch that on like an iPhone, but I was like, I asked Nick, I was like, do we even
same way I did Battle of the Bastards?
Yeah, I was like, do we even tell him like some of this? Because like Spoils of War specifically was like came out of freaking nowhere for me personally.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a big part of it. So I was like, I'm just keeping my mouth shut. But this one, there's technical issues, so you have to have to watch episode 3 in a specific way.
Yeah. Cool. I'm down with that.
Do you think the Hound and his brother are going to meet?
Ooh, duel for the ages.
Yeah, there's been a lot of build up to that.
I feel like
they basically called it out in the last episode. They're like,
all right,
it's always been me.
If the Mountain is going to exist, like he hasn't done anything since he's been back. Like, yeah, he smushed that guy.
Yeah.
Like, but that's it. Like he killed like a sparrow.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like a regular Kingsguard could have, not like ripped him in half, but
right.
You know. So yeah, I would like to see the Mountain like do something.
Something.
Yeah, just poke it with like that meme, like do something. Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be a cool duel to see the Hound and old Gregor, right? That's Gregor.
Yeah,
is the Mountain. Yeah.
Yep.
Gregor.
Oh man, I'm excited. I have not rewatched season 8 since it's aired. This is going to be my second time ever watching it. So
well, we're about to watch it in the next 5 days.
Yeah,
7 days.
That's the most exciting part of it. Should have been the pace for the whole show. We could have
one
done
episode a
months
night. That's one episode a night or all of them this weekend?
Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
binge them all at work
Well,
probably.
I'm going to be in a cabin somewhere this weekend, so I will not be watching any this weekend.
And you'll watch them all like Monday and Tuesday.
Yep.
next week.
I have a very specific plan in my watches. So just thinking out loud right now. 1 and 2, Monday. 3, Monday night. 4 and 5, Tuesday. 6, Wednesday night.
Perfect.
Bam, Thursday, we're recapping.
Yeah, that works. Just remember, not that it really matters because you're going to finish the episode, but some of them are longer than an hour. So plan for that.
Right on.
So sad.
Yeah, I will say, not that the show is ever like losing steam or anything, but this season, like reignited my enjoyment of the show. And I think it's just because we're getting towards the finality of it.
Yeah.
And seeing like all of the loose ends, get tied together or burnt off or whatever, and everything's like honing in on this one super disappointing season apparently to everyone on Earth.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. It's re-sparked that, and I'm looking forward to watching these last 6 episodes. And I will say I'm a kind of a contrarian where I typically tend to really enjoy things everyone hates and hate most things everyone enjoys. So
to be honest with you, my money is that you enjoy this final season.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Some backhanded shade being thrown. No.
No. I'm just saying,
you like bad things.
Yeah.
I'm
my
saying that
general thoughts
specifically.
of you kind of being an idiot.
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it specifically because you practically, even though we've done this for a while, you've practically binged this show.
Mm-hmm.
You're pretty fresh on everything that happened in earlier seasons. We sat down and talked hours on each season.
Yeah.
So I think that everything is going to be there for you to be like, okay, this makes sense. We'll see.
Rad. I'm excited. Yeah.
Well, before we go too far, okay, Joe Cross, you won the Ivysaur.
Nice.
From last week's giveaway.
I totally forgot about that. Congratulations, Joe. Woo-hoo.
Just for you. I will deliver it to you in person.
Yes, that's the great thing about Joe winning stuff that we're giving away. Is we save on
the
save on the postage.
But yeah, congratulations. I'm sure he'll enjoy that. It'll be a nice addition back to his streaming backdrop for sure.
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
Now, this is all very convenient in that we're about to watch this last season, season 8, Game of Thrones, right? And we are going to recap that season next Thursday. But tune in Monday, and Chad and I will be kicking off our House of the Dragon Companion series with episode 0, where we're going to hype it up.
Hype train.
Dig into all the peripherals and everything that's swarming about it. I started listening to the official podcast episode.
Whoa.
We don't talk about that.
Just to see what we're dealing with. I think we got this in the bag.
Nice.
pretty well. Now the one guy, he like went to like Comic-Con and like announced like the trailer, like he's cool and stuff.
Cool.
I went to Comic-Con.
Yeah.
But the other cool thing is like it's on HBO Max, so you can just listen to the podcast on HBO Max. But what I found just hanging out in like the Game of Thrones collection is there is an ambient 30-minute video that just guides you through like panning shots of like King's Landing.
Oh, that sounds rad.
Yeah.
Like just ambient. And then it goes right to like Tywin's face as he like rolls up into what's the really big castle that you like so much?
Who?
In the Riverlands, the biggest castle. The one with like 50 hearths.
The destroyed one.
Yeah, the melted one. It's dude, I'm
whatever.
Blanking. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That's pretty cool. That was cool. I must
Harrenhal.
Yeah, Harrenhal. But yeah, so excited to get into that because then basically as soon as we finish Game of Thrones here, rewatch, we're going to be watching House of the Dragon, which premieres
perfectly.
here on the 21st.
It's almost like that was the plan all along. It's crazy.
Almost
I
like
don't
we
know.
planned
Man,
it.
it's
Just
so
rolling right
So
into
odd.
it.
It's so odd.
I also got to say, too, one of my favorite things with the companion series are these episode zeros. The one that I did with Jordan on Falcon and Winter Soldier was super fun. The one that you guys did for the Bad Batch was really cool. It's just like one of the. It's a great like appetizer, right, for what's to come. And follow. I mean, I know we just basically did 8 episodes of episode 0.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to listen to Monday's episode just because you guys are gonna like get way into the weeds, all the like super nerdy stuff.
And somehow
about
you
the
wiggle your
Targaryen
way
and
out
crap.
of it. This slimy little guy,
Yeah,
Mike is.
I mean, yeah, it's
Just
weird.
wiggle his way out. Might have to do that for Mr. Robot.
But you're going to watch it every Sunday, so you're going to have a chance
watch
to guest spot on one of the episodes, maybe?
Perhaps, yeah. Yeah, the wiggling out just has to do with the Dungeons and Dragons stuff that's
which is
happening.
coming along and might be rolling in tandem.
Yeah,
Lots of stuff going on.
That might be happening on the 21st of this month. So keep your eyes peeled. Definitely tune in to episode 0 on Monday, and the companion series every Monday, right?
Yep.
So that'll be cool. Anything else we want to plug at all?
Heck no.
My Nuzlocke stream ended tragically last night.
Brutally.
Spoiler alert. I lost. Came to an abrupt halt.
Is that the closest you've came to winning?
I was riding so high during my stream last night. I went through, did my first session of like having to grind experience in the game, and I was like, 40 hours into the game at this point, which is also absurd.
Dude, I've doubled that in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. More than doubled it. I literally have 90 hours into Valhalla currently. Well,
like Joe's Answer the Boys reply, trading 6 Pokemon for a Hitmonchan. Yeah, I got 6 of my Pokemon killed, like very strong Pokemon in this specific fight for a Hitmonchan. So basically I had to like rebuild my team for the most part. So anyways, I was really down after that stream, came back, had the like Rocky training montage going, got my team all stacked up, went through the 5th gym and just decimated it. And I was like, yes. And then marched my way to the 6th gym because they're like the same levels. So you can just go straight from one to the other. It doesn't matter the order you do them in or anything. Go into the 6th gym and I'm wiping the floor with all of her like trainers before the gym leader. Get to the gym leader, blow through her first like 4 Pokemon, get to her ace, her 5th final Pokemon. Basically 2-shot him. He's 1 hit away from dying, and she fully heals him. And then he just 1-shots every one of my Pokemon.
Oh, bro,
I was like, yes, I'm about to get my 6th badge. This is going to be epic. And then
she pulled out the lay on hands.
Yeah. She pallet bubbled, lay on hands, and just 1-shot my entire team.
Yikes!
And I was like, okay, well, I guess the stream's over now.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, be sure to go watch that on our Showboys Gaming channel because
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, and if you don't feel like watching 2.5-hour VODs, you can listen to our bonus podcast series called A Kanto Pokemon Story.
Oh, it's gonna be such a sad ending.
Where I don't even know how I'm gonna write like my last 3 streams worth of stuff. There's so much.
It's like Game of Thrones episode.
It's basically I'm gonna have to do the Pokemon version of like the Red Wedding.
Yeah.
But there are 2 chapters out. They're short. Like, the first one's 10 minutes long, second one's 20 minutes long. But I'm having fun doing that dramatization inspired by the events of my stream.
Yeah, that's a cool idea.
Yeah. Anyways, check it out if you want. If not, whatever. It's kind of dumb. So. That's it. We're done.
Close it.
One more season. See you guys Monday for episode 0. And of course, next Thursday as we wrap up Throwback Thursday, Game of Thrones edition. Have a good one.
Peace.
Monsters are dangerous, and just now kings are dying like flies.
I am the king!
Fuck the king. Knowledge is power.
Joffrey, Cersei, Walder Frey, Meryn Trant, Tywin Lannister.
Your Grace.
Grandfather, tell me about the Targaryen girl and her dragons.
The skull of the last of them was right here. It was the size of an apple.
The biggest was the size of a carriage.
When you play the Game of Thrones, you win or you die.
Dracarys.
I'm afraid of a dead horse.
The Red Woman, Eric Dondarrion, the Wrath of Mir, feeling pain, the mountain.
Would you shut up?
The Hounds.
And now their watch is ended.
There's so many good images for season 8. Don't Google them, Mike, but wow.
Wow.
May have to keep that that artwork under wraps for a while. Till Wednesday night or whatever he said.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, I'm gonna really miss using that song as our intro.
Yeah.
That thing's
Afraid of a dead
slaps.
whore.
Yeah, I
Just
love that.
slap it.
It's my favorite part. Afraid of a dead whore.